Welcome to the Global Youth Powerhouse Summit, Innovate with Hong Kong 2024. Today's robust program will commence in 5 minutes. We would appreciate that you could take your seat. Thank you for your attention. The event is about to start. We would appreciate that you take your seats. Thank you for your attention. Good morning, Mr. Chek, distinguished guests, and valued participants. I'm Stephanie Chan, and I'm delighted to be your MC today. I am honored to be invited by Dr. Kevin Lau to join the Hong Kong Youth Professional Advocacy Committee. When Kevin told me about this vision for a think tank focused on young professionals, I was immediately intrigued. The Hong Kong Youth Professional Global Advocacy aims to connect visionary young professionals in Hong Kong with their peers around the world. Our goal is to create an inclusive and diverse platform where the next generation of leaders from various industries can come together, share their insights on important topics, and develop impactful initiatives, especially those that highlight opportunities in Hong Kong. So today marks a significant milestone for us for the advocacy as we host our inaugural Global Youth Powerhouse Summit, Innovate with Hong Kong. So before we dive into the day, I have a few house announcements to share. The summit will mainly be in English. We're excited to announce that the event will be live streamed for our online participants on YouTube and Instagram. After each of the 3 panels, there will be a Q&A session. Online participants can submit their questions through YouTube and Instagram. There will be a tea break at 11 a.m., and we invite you to visit our various member booths. Lastly, we would appreciate all mobile devices be switched to silent mode. Thank you for your cooperation. Cool. So before we begin our discussions, I would like to take a moment to recognize the dedicated individuals who have worked tirelessly to bring the summit to life. So let me introduce our 5 committee members of the Hong Kong Youth Professional Global Advocacy. First and foremost, Dr. Kevin Lau, our founding convener of the think tank. Kevin currently serves numerous government, medical, and social organizations over medical affairs, children affairs, youth development, and social innovation. His expertise in healthcare policy and community engagement enables him to bring unique insights to the summit, especially establishing it as a platform for young professionals to leverage their skills and knowledge to address global challenges. As founding convener of the Hong Kong Youth Professional Global Advocacy, he advocates policies and initiatives that promote Hong Kong's role on the global stage. Now, on to our secretary, William Du. William is currently the head of marketing and leasing at Kaduri Estates Limited. He also serves as the advisor to our Hong Kong Foundation, member of Youth Service Advisory Committee of the Hong Kong Federation of Youth Groups, and the community champion at World Economic Forum in Greater China. He has been named as a global shaper in 2016. He brings extensive experience in luxury real estate and policy, along with a deep understanding of international relations. His insights will be invaluable at the summit, helping to bridge perspectives on economic development and the growth of innovative industries. And then we have Jason Law. Jason. Okay, he is an emerging young professional specializing in global health. As the founder of Revision AI Limited, he aims to enhance human well-being through the adoption of advancement of technologies, particularly in healthcare. A strong advocate of tobacco control, he focuses on pediatric and adolescent health. With experience in both private and public sectors, Jason will be a key contributor to our discussions on the future of healthcare and the role of technology in improving quality of life. Then we have Jonathan Lee. So Jonathan is a committee member with extensive knowledge of the insurance markets in Greater China. He serves as the Chief Distribution Officer of AXA Greater China, where he is responsible for strategy development and leading distribution efforts. He will share invaluable insights on the evolving distribution models relevant to the Greater China. Finally, the 5th member, me. I am Stephanie Chan, the treasurer of the think tank. I work in brand development, marketing and partnerships, and sustainability within the apparel industry, specifically with the Pi and Determinant brands. I am passionate about integrating sustainable practices into business models, from design to sourcing to manufacturing packaging. And this aligns closely with the summit's focus on socially responsible innovation. So all in all, this is us. Yay! So on behalf of the committee, we sincerely appreciate your participation today. We look forward to your feedback and invite you to join us in empowering young professionals to make a positive impact and fostering meaningful change for Hong Kong and beyond. So the theme for this year's Global Youth Powerhouse Summit, Empowering Professionals for a Global Initiative, A Voice from Hong Kong. This summit brings together established, experienced, and knowledgeable young professionals from Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and the Greater Bay Area for focused discussions aimed at driving new momentum for global and Hong Kong development. Today, we will engage in topics relevant to key sectors, including healthcare, insurance, creative, and digital industries. We are honored to have influential speakers from various countries joining us to share their insights and experience through 3 panels. The first panel is titled Leaders Dialogue Shaping the Future of Leadership. The second panel will explore the health economy, navigating innovations for a resilient future. Finally, we will conclude with the third panel, Digital and Creative Economies, Innovation for Tomorrow. So now, I would like to invite Dr. Kevin Lau, founding convener of the Hong Kong Youth Professional Global Advocacy, to deliver his opening remarks. Kevin, please.
Thank you, Stephanie. A sincere welcome to all of you today. But before I deliver my opening remarks, I'd like to thank the Chief Executive as he, in the midst of his very busy trip in the mainland, he actually wrote us a letter last night for the summit. So may I take the honor of reading it out now. I am pleased to offer my congratulations on the organization of the Global Youth Powerhouse Summit. Themed Empowering Professionals for a Global Initiative, A Voice from Hong Kong, this summit will focus on 4 thematic directions, namely healthcare, insurance, creative economy, and digital economy. It is indeed an invaluable opportunity for young professionals from the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area, Southeast Asia, and Middle East to get together, exchange ideas and insights, and create new momentum to drive Hong Kong and the world forward. I'd like to thank the Hong Kong Youth Professional Global Advocacy for its efforts in enhancing connections between Hong Kong's youth professionals and their counterparts around the world, as well as facilitating a better global understanding of Hong Kong and our motherland's development, thereby fostering collaborations across borders. May I wish the Global Youth Powerhouse Summit a resounding success and all participants a rewarding experience. Yours sincerely, John Casey Lee, Chief Executive of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. Thank you to the Chief Executive for his kind encouragement and support. May I now deliver my opening remarks. Deputy Chief Secretary of Administration for the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, Mr. Chuck, Directors, Council Generals, Heads of Commerces of Chambers, distinguished panelists, esteemed team members, colleagues, and friends. Good morning and welcome to the Global Powerhouse Summit 2024. It is indeed a true privilege to stand before you in a city renowned for its vibrant spirit of innovation and cultural diversity. Today, we unite for a singular purpose: to empower professionals for a global initiative, A Voice from Hong Kong. Our world today is interconnected, and it is through collaboration that we will unlock unprecedented opportunities. I want to highlight the incredible moment we are living in. Just in the past week, Hong Kong has hosted world-renowned leaders like Jensen Huang, the founder and CEO of the world's most valuable company, NVIDIA, along with the CEOs of Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and arguably one of our world's best tennis players, Roger Federer, and some of our best golf players in the world, all in our vibrant city. How extraordinary is it that we're gathered in a place where such caliber, innovation, and wisdom of a crowd unite all in one single week. This is no ordinary achievement. So let's take a moment to be proud of our home, our Hong Kong. Let the summit be the catalyst for inspiring action that reverberates beyond today. Today, we are joined by over 150 C-level executives and more than 2,000 attendees online from 30 different nationalities. This diversity isn't just a number. It embodies our spirit of collaboration, driving innovation in sectors from leadership and health economy to digital and creative industries. Our program today features an incredible group of panelists with inspiring life-transforming stories, from young professionals to successful entrepreneurs and CEOs. These narratives will illustrate not only personal success, but how can we capitalize on opportunities within Hong Kong and across the globe. Innovation is at the heart of progress, and Hong Kong stands as a beacon, an epicenter for pioneering ideas and transformative solutions. As we dive into meaningful dialogues, I encourage you to ask questions, connect with one another, and share your own experiences. Let's transform this gathering from mere conversations into meaningful connections that will resonate long after leaving this venue. In closing, I'm both honored and humbled to learn from our distinguished panelists and each one of you today. Together, let us foster a spirit of innovation and collaboration that not only elevates our individual paths, but propels Hong Kong forward as a global hub of opportunity. Thank you for being here. Let's make this summit a memorable and impactful experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Please have a seat. We are especially honored to have Mr. Chek Wing Hing, GBS JP, Deputy Chief Secretary of Administration of the Hong Kong SAR, as our guest of honor for the Global Youth Powerhouse Summit, sharing a few words with us. Please, Mr. Chek.
Elsie, Keen Paul, Alan, Kevin, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you. It is my great pleasure to join you at the inaugural Global Youth Powerhouse Summit. First of all, I would like to thank the Hong Kong Youth Professional Global Advocacy for hosting this remarkable event, which brings together over 300 young professionals, policymakers, and industry leaders from Hong Kong, the Greater Bay Area, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. Today's event provides an invaluable platform for embracing the voices and ideas of our future leaders. As we gather here at the Hong Kong Maritime Museum, we are blessed with the magnificent view of the Victoria Harbour. In the same way that these waters have connected cultures and commerce for decades, today we forge new friendships and create opportunities by connecting minds and ideas, symbolizing perfectly Hong Kong's position as a global nexus for young professional talent. The theme of today's summit, Empowering Professionals for Global Initiative, a voice from Hong Kong, could not be more relevant and opportune. First, Hong Kong has always been a city where East meets West, where tradition meets innovation, and where opportunities meet talent. So we are the ideal place to conduct this dialogue. Second, the world has changed immensely in geopolitics, economic development, technological transformation, trade protection, and global stability. As future leaders of the world, it is timely for young professionals to reflect on and examine how they should respond to this challenge. Insofar as Hong Kong is concerned, our unique position under the one country, two systems has given us unsurpassed advantages in connecting easily with both the mainland and the global community, particularly in high-impact sectors such as healthcare, finance, technology, and creative industries, on which distinguished panelists of the summit will explore in depth in later sessions. It is often said that young people are the leaders of tomorrow, but for the young professionals in this room and watching us online, let me tell you that you are the leaders of today. The future is already in your hands. As young professionals, you have an awful lot to offer in shaping the future of your place in your respective professional domain as doctors, lawyers, architects, engineers, computer specialists, financial analysts, accountants, and so on. Young men and women, to rise to the challenges ahead, I think it is essential to have the right mindset. The advancement and popularization of telecommunications have considerably shortened the distance that set people apart by physical space and national boundaries. We are truly living in a global village. What we do would impact on other members of the village and vice versa. As responsible members of the village, we should look beyond our immediate local surroundings and cultivate a broad national and global perspective that cherishes the building of a global community of shared future. In practice, in addition to going about our lines of business professionally, we should set our vision wider on national and global issues such as AI development, climate change, and public health, and where appropriate, actively participate in the community's search for improvements and solutions. In the course of our business and visits, we can also promote mutual understanding and respect by interfacing more with our interlocutors, telling them our stories, and listening to theirs. For Hong Kong young professionals in particular, the national strategies such as the Belt and Road Initiative and the development of the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area have brought enormous development opportunities. The seizing of these opportunities is further aided by the recent enhancement of CEPA, which introduces new liberalization measures in different forms across service sectors where Hong Kong enjoys competitive advantages, such as financial services, construction and related engineering services, testing and certification, and so on. I urge you to make the most of the opportunities to realize your own goals and contribute to the building of a global community of shared future. Dear young professionals, the future is literally in your own hands. Think wide, think big. Reach for the sky, and the sky is within your reach. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Churk, for your words. Please kindly remain on stage. Thank you. To commemorate the summit, we would like to take a few photos with Mr. Churk. First, may I invite the committee members to join us on stage. So Kevin, William, Jonathan, Jason. Okay, now may we invite members of the Executive Council and Legislative Council and special guests join Mr. Churk and Kevin on stage, please. May we have the pleasure of the Honorable Bernard Chan, Chairman of our Hong Kong Foundation, Ms. Elsie Leung, former Secretary of Justice, Mr. Honorable Chen Kin Po, non-official member of the Executive Council, the Honorable Tommy Cheung, member of the Executive Council, Mr. Alan Zeman, Chairman of the LKF Group, the Honorable Bill Tang, member of the Legislative Council, Dr. Honorable Johnny Ng, member of the National Committee of the CPCC, the Honorable Dominic Lee, member of the Legislative Council, the Honorable Rock Chen, member of the Legislative Council, Reverend Canon, Honorable Peter Douglas Kong, member of the Legislative Council, the Honorable Vincent Cheng, member of the Legislative Council. Mr. Paul Ng, member of the National Committee of the CPCC, Mr. Ken Chu, Chairman and CEO of Mission Hills Group, Mr. Xin Yue Jiang, Chairman of CITIC Telecom International. Mr. Guerra Cordova, Consul General of Venezuela in Hong Kong, Ms. Ranita Chamchilaram, Deputy Consul General of the Royal Thai Consulate General, Mr. Juan Vargas, Vice Consul of the General Council of the Dominican Republic in Hong Kong, Mr. M.D. Marzuk Islam, Vice Consul of the Consulate General of Bangladesh in Hong Kong, Dr. Ahmed Al-Bashlori, Economic Researcher, Consulate General of the UAE in Hong Kong SAR, Ms. Enda Rakmi, Counselor of the Consulate General of Indonesia, Dr. Chuang Shuk Kwan, Consulate Community Medicine, Family and Student Health, Dr. Ho, founder and chairman of the One Country, Two System Youth Forum. Ms. Emily Lam Ho, founder and CEO of Impact 28. Mr. Charles Chia, CEO of Hong Kong ASEAN Foundation. Mr. Joseph Chong, Regional Executive Vice President Asia and Managing Director, The Peninsula Hong Kong. Mr. James Chow, President of the Hong Kong United States Exchange Foundation. Ms. Shirley Hiranand, co-founder of Bon Vivant and Bella Vita. And Ms. Reina Harilela, co-founder of Bon Vivant and Bella Vita. Mr. Shark and fellow committee members, please remain on stage. Now, may we invite members of the Executive Council and Legislative Council and special guests. Join Mr. Chuck and Kevin on stage, please. May we have the pleasure of Reverend Brett Hilliard, Senior Pastor, Island Evangelical Community Church. Ms. Ilaria Chan, Chairperson, Tech for Good Institute and Group Advisor on Tech and Social Impact Grab. Mr. Michael Yu, Managing Director and General Manager of Google Hong Kong. Mr. David Chang, Founding Managing Partner of MildWorks Capital. Mr. Kelvin Yu, Chief Product Officer of FWD Hong Kong and Macau. Mr. Sam Lim, Chief Information Technology Officer of Prudential Hong Kong. Mr. Ray Chan, Founder and Chairman of 9gag. Ms. Ann Lim Chaplin, Founding Publisher of Prestige and Legend. Mr. Jason Mock, Founding Partner of Capital Union Investments Limited. Guests from the first row, please be seated. Except Mr. Chuck, Mr. Bernard Chan, Ms. Elsie Leung. Hi. Now we will ask the presence of the other special guests. May we please have Ms. Christine Lau, Ms. Linda Ma, founding chairperson of Citywide Renewal Limited. Wait, Christine. Oh. You look. Mr. Herman Hui, chairperson of the Social Workers Registration Board. Mr. Manko Chen, Chief Financial Officer of FY Life. Mr. Paul Tse, Chief Marketing and Digital Officer, FWD Hong Kong and Macau. Mr. Jason Wong Chun Tat, member of Chongqing CPPCC Committee. Mr. Stanley Choi, Chairman of the Committee of the Promotion of Civic Education. Dr. Jane Chan, Chairperson of Hong Kong Chinese Medical Association. Dr. Kwok Po Yin, President of the Association of Private Medical Specialists of Hong Kong. Ms. Lena Chong, Director of Xingyuan Charity Foundation. Dr. Pong Choi Fat, Chairman of the Association of Hong Kong Professionals. Dr. Chan Wai Kang, Founding Chairman of the Greater Bay Area Medical Advancement Association. Dr. Ryan Chung, CEO and founder of Press Logic. Mr. Richard Low, President of Full Diamond Group. Ms. Karen Chan, Deputy Chairman of the Federation of Hong Kong Industries. Ms. Deborah Leung, Chairman of Capital Classic. Ms. Arun Gurung, District Councillor of Yao Chim Mong. Mr. Paul Liu, CEO and Executive Director of the United Asia Finance Limited. Mr. Gary Wong, Head and Director of Public Affairs and Marketing at Gaw Capital. Mr. Rajesh Shashani, Director at Hip Hing International Limited. Mr. David Sit, Group CEO of Singular Concepts. Mr. Manoj Chelaram, Co-founder and Director of Chelaram Foods Limited. Mr. Evan Leung, National Executive Vice President, JCI Hong Kong. Mr. Chen Kai Wai, District Councillor of Saigon. Bernard Chan, may we have you join us? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. So next on our agenda, we're going to take a group picture off stage. So we are now going to capture a final group photo off stage. May everyone take a seat, please? Everyone have a seat. I'm going to take a seat too. Okay, let's go. Yes. So our photographer and videographer will be on stage to capture this moment. Are we ready? All right. All right, good job, everyone. Okay, great. So today's summit would not have been made possible without the support from each of you, including our partner organizations. So we extend our gratitude to the following in alphabetical order: Character Education Foundation, Determinant, FW Insurance, GEMS Character Academy, My Gym, South China Group, The Coffee Academics, Trinity Medical Group, TM Glow, TM Wellness, United Imaging, FY Life. Their support and partnership have been essential in making this summit a success, so we greatly appreciate their contributions. The panel will begin shortly. See you soon. We are thrilled to welcome such an international audience today, including the Deputy Chief Secretary for Administration, as well as Consulate Generals and their representatives, and Chambers of Commerce from Southeast Asia, Middle East, and South America. We also extend our greetings to members of the Executive Council and Legislative Council, members of the National Committee of the CPPCC, leaders of think tanks and respected institutions, as well as senior and C-level executives from international corporations. So please join me in a warm welcome to all of you. Heavenly. Now let's begin the first panel, Leaders Dialogue Shaping the Future of Leadership. May we welcome on stage our session moderator, Dr. Kevin Lau, founding convener of the Hong Kong Youth Professional Global Advocacy, and our esteemed panelists. First, we have Dr. Alan Zeman, GBM, GBSJP, Chairman of LKF Group. Mr. Bernard Chan, GBM, GBSJP, Chairman of our Hong Kong Foundation. Mr. Michael Yu, Managing Director and General Manager, Sales and Operations of Google Hong Kong. Ms. Ilaria Chan, Tech for Good Institute and Group Advisor on Tech and Social Impact Grab. Reverend Brett Hilliard, Senior Pastor, Island Evangelical Community Church. And via Zoom, we are honored to have Mr. David Liao join us. Mr. David Liao, Co-Chief Executive, Asia Pacific, the Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation Limited. Great. Now, Kevin, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. A big round of applause to Stephanie. This morning, I think it was definitely not an easy task, but thank you so much, Stephanie. A sincere welcome to our panelists. The track of this panel is actually on leadership. And perhaps if I could go to Bernie and Alan first. Bernie, I want to start off the question of what are some unique opportunities that you see in Hong Kong today?
Wow, you start off with me.
An easy question. I want to start easy.
And that's the easy questions. Okay. Well, I think let's just put the elephant in the room out in the picture. Hong Kong is clearly not the same Hong Kong, say 5 years, 10 years ago. We are facing with a whole new, different dimension today. While I think I do agree with some of the sentiment out there, there's a bit of a confusion. I think people, I think we all have a little bit of an identity crisis now in Hong Kong. Should we be more like China or should we be more international? I think that's perhaps, let's get to that question, right? The truth of the matter is we need to be both. You know, the potential, you know, in fact, I mean, I'm not a historian, but if you read the history, Hong Kong have always been contributing to the prosperity of China for different reasons at different time, right? In the 50s, we serve a purpose in the 50s, and then we serve another purpose during the economic reform. Of course, we serve another purpose in the last 20 years, raising capital for China. The next 20 years, Hong Kong will remain very purposeful and useful to China, continues to add value, but that contribution is going to be different from the last 20 years. This, in the next 20 years, about helping Chinese company to go abroad, de-risking. And we see that already happening. So Hong Kong will continue to be serving that purpose. So the future of Hong Kong is always about adding value. We don't call it adding value in the past, but we are, right? And so I'm very optimistic. People ask, why are you so optimistic about the future? Of course we are, because you have a growing 400 million rising middle class in China. Where else? Who has that kind of market right behind us? The question is, are we equipped to understand the needs of that 400 million middle class? So I suppose today the purpose is the youth, right? So our next generation need to understand, our former leader in Hong Kong, C.Y. Leung, he used this phrase a lot, right? We are the super connector. I totally in agreement with him. We are the connector. But to qualify as a connector, you can't just say that, well, I'm a connector. Hey, you're not a connector unless you know who you're connecting to. So first you need to understand China. What are the needs of China? Then you need to understand the world, right? Otherwise, you're not qualified to be a connector. But once we are equipped, amazing opportunities for us. So I don't want to take up too much time, but I think the future of Hong Kong is about you have to understand the needs of our motherland, but at the same time, we need to understand the world. That's the beauty of Hong Kong. We are that connector. So the future is the people. I hate to say this. I wish it's going to be people grow up in Hong Kong. But if we fail to do so, we welcome the best talent from the world to come to Hong Kong to serve that purpose too. It's not just for us alone. It's for anyone who can actually be that connector. But I certainly hope that our own local youth can serve that purpose because we're here. But the youth here needs to first understand and want to understand what is happening in the mainland and the rest of the world. So with that, I think the future is promising if we can. Hong Kong will do fine regardless of what, because of that purpose, and this is what central government wants Hong Kong to serve as well. So Hong Kong as a place will do well, but whether our local youth can take advantage of that is entirely up to them. If they're willing to get to know what's the rest of the world is doing? What's China and the rest of the world doing? Just staying in Hong Kong is not good enough. They need to understand, what the gaps and the needs that we can provide the value.
I think, Bernie, your comments of understanding the needs of the world is so key. And actually, just before I got on stage, I was just told that we have 3,000 online who have joined over close to 20 different countries listening to. And I think your comments of, that's not just youth for us in this room or professionals, but rather it's all those of the younger generation of understanding the needs of Hong Kong and the world. So, Alan, what are your thoughts on what are some unique opportunities you see in Hong Kong today?
Well, obviously, Bertie's laid out the China angle, but Hong Kong has definitely changed, and it's changing, I see, for the better, especially for youth. Especially, Hong Kong is now, in the past, Hong Kong was really about, well, always being, as Siwa Leung had commented, the super connector, and will continue to be. But we're living in a geopolitical world going forward, and that's something that we will have to bear with us. There's a new election that just finished in the United States, and that was one of our biggest trading partners. And with Donald Trump, anything happens. So, but for youth going forward, I don't worry about Hong Kong, and I see a great future because Hong Kong is definitely changing. In the past, we were about IT was not very, very important to Hong Kong at the time. We fell behind China. China's so far to me, it's one of the prominent countries in the world with IT, with technology. I mean, that's what the future's all about. And Hong Kong itself has now taken that under consideration, that for young people, the first future of the world is about AI. And, Jensen Huang was just here from NVIDIA to show the importance of Hong Kong. He got an honorary doctorate degree from University of Science and Technology. And so the fact that he came out here shows how important he thinks about Hong Kong and China, because his people, NVIDIA's people, then went to China to talk about how they can produce more chips and for China, because it's 15% of NVIDIA's market. So we have also the new Northern Metropolis, which is an area which will be built up in conjunction with Shenzhen, Hong Kong and Shenzhen, the Centopole, where technology, again, will be very, very, very important. We have in Hong Kong 5 of the top universities in the world. They're always in the top 100 in the world. So for R&D, it's very, very strong. Going forward, it presents big, big opportunities for young people. As I say, AI, this LLM, it's all changing the world. And basically, if we don't get with it, Hong Kong will fall behind. But in R&D, research and development, I mean, our universities always come out on top. And that's why we attract a lot of people from all over. So it's all young people who are going to be coming out into the future. The other thing that is very strong that is coming up is biomedical. That is another area that presents a big, big opportunity for young people. And again, with AI and all the new development in medical, there's so much opportunity curing or helping to cure cancers, helping to cure heart disease, all the different diseases that people died from in the past. We are now at the forefront of all this, and also being able to approve drugs internally from China and Hong Kong. Hong Kong will be the foremost place where we don't have to wait for FDA approval for a lot of drugs. So we're taking a totally different aspect for opportunities for young people. And of course, culture is another thing. We just finished, government just came out with a 71-point story on the future of culture and arts in Hong Kong. East meets West, very, very important. We have, Hong Kong has always been an international city, but we fell asleep before for a while. For young people now who want to be in culture. I was just at the new stadium in Kai Tak Stadium that will open early next year. And I can tell you, it's one of the most beautiful stadiums in the world, 50,000 seats, attracting all top talent now. So for young people, I mean, Coldplay is coming. They just extended a fourth day because they sold out in 96 hours. And it shows Hong Kong, and then a rugby sevens will be opening up there. So it shows that Hong Kong, and I guarantee you we're going to have more and more international, whether it's sports, international stars there. Hong Kong is one, and the other thing that I want to mention, if there's 3,000 people watching, Hong Kong is is probably the safest city in the world, SAFE, compared to a lot of the world cities where safety has become a huge problem. We are very, very safe. And that's the best thing about Hong Kong and international. As China grows, Hong Kong grows with it. And of course, we have the one country, two systems here, which has benefited Hong Kong for so many years. And that will continue. We practice common law system here. China practices civil law, independent judiciary, all these things that people trust. As Bernard said before, we have conventions and exhibitions all year round. We have great museums, the M+, which just talking to the chairman sitting beside us, and the Palace Museum, which again, I've been with them for 24 years, I think, from the beginning. But I mean, it's Hong Kong's a world-class city now, so there's so much opportunity for young people. The cyberport that we have, the science park, you know, for those who've not been out to the Hong Kong Science Park, it's amazing, you know, and it's got so many new companies and so much youth. It's all youth out there, and companies just keep opening all the time, and the technology coming out of there is amazing. And then, of course, the cyberport will be doing one of the largest AI universities that they just announced. So we're really moving in the right direction. So for youth, there's a huge opportunity in everything. And of course, I don't want to forget financial services. Financial services, 20% of Hong Kong's GDP. There's 2,700 family offices in Hong Kong. So there's a lot of money for startups. We both sit on Alibaba Entrepreneur Fund, and we finance a lot of young people, it's all young people that are starting up businesses. And so it's really, the opportunities in Hong Kong are vast, and we're Chinese on one half and Western on the other, international on the other half. And that is the beauty, and that's why China needs Hong Kong so desperately. They don't need Hong Kong as another Chinese city. And I hear all the time, that China's taking back Hong Kong, and there's no more safety. It's not never mind safety here. There's Hong Kong is not open anymore. China's has taken back Hong Kong. And I say it's so wrong, because if you come to Hong Kong, seeing is believing. If you come to Hong Kong, you can see the opportunities here. Most young people that come to Hong Kong fall in love with the city. And of course, we're next to the ASEAN market, which is 600 million people, 30% of the world's population. Even if there's a geopolitical problem, which will happen coming forward, China's already looking at what they call the Global South, which is 85% of the world's population. Now, the Global South is a huge market. All these countries and the Belt and Road, which China started 12 years ago, 150 countries in the world, again, 70% of the world's population. And trading now, China's trading with all these countries, it's just remarkably. So the future, even if there's a geopolitical situation, which will happen for sure after January 20th in the US, I can tell you Hong Kong and China will be very, very strong, because they've already taken steps to make sure that going forward, they're not dependent on one country anymore. And I think the US will have a rude awakening when it all happens. So don't read the headlines, don't read the newspapers, just continue to come to Hong Kong, live in Hong Kong, start a business in Hong Kong. I can tell you, I've been here 57 years. There's no better place than Hong Kong. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alan. And thank you to Bernie and Alan for taking us on a very, I would say, a very macro perspective on opportunities in Hong Kong. Perhaps I'll go to Ilaria for more of a tech and regional perspective. From your perspective, Ilaria, what role can you see Hong Kong serving Asia and the world?
Yeah, thank you. And by the way, what Alan and Bernard talked about was so good. It's like half of my notes. So I'm going to try to not repeat the brilliant points they made here. Everyone talks these days about tech as if that's the end goal. It's not. Tech is a neutral thing. It's a means to an end, right? Alibaba is there to facilitate the shipping of a box of diapers to the household of parents that need to slap it on their baby. Facebook is there to facilitate human connection so that someone can either sell something on the platform or they can attract so much flow that ad dollars will flow in to keep the companies going. So for technology, it is a connector, but it is something that scales and catalyzes, and it's neutral, so the person and the people using technology defines whether it's for good or bad, whether it's successful or not. So when we talk about Hong Kong's role as a super connector, and Bernard talked about it really well, like how can you be a connector that is valuable? You have to be so expansive in your network, have such a great understanding of all the people around the world, their needs, their problems, difficult situations. You have to think ahead for them and anticipate what they might need so that you can connect them to someone who adds value to them in the future, instead of just being the agent that slaps people together, and AI will actually displace that soon. So what does that need? And I'm talking actually to all the young people who are listening, is you need to be so curious, so compassionate, and so savvy in meeting people from different racial backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, reading about the world. So you read BBC and Wall Street Journal, but you also read Al Jazeera, SCMP, local Chinese paper, and then you form your own opinion of what people really are about instead of regurgitating sound bites and repeating what people are trying to sell to you. Then you develop something creative and value added to the people you're trying to connect with and the ecosystem you're trying to build. That's how you will not be disrupted by AI. AI will help you research everything and be informed, and you have to be the person to build the relationship, suggest the solution, follow up, and be this trustworthy conduit that people will come back to you to do business with you. So to answer your question, I think Hong Kong and tech have shared that commonality, is they can be the scalable, catalytic connector, but ultimately it's the people behind that will make the difference. And if in Hong Kong we are meant to connect China to the world, let's understand the 1.3 billion people in Africa, which Alibaba, I know, is doing a lot of business in Africa. I live in San Francisco Bay Area, even though I'm from Hong Kong. I was talking to an Afghanistan refugee turned Uber driver who was driving me to the airport 4 days ago in San Francisco, and he told me he spends half his time in Afghanistan, half the time in Bay Area doing export-import, which is a wonderful business that Alan used to do to start his empire, and it's very enterprising. So I guess just to wrap this up is, yeah, I think that Hong Kong needs to be a place where understanding the world is easy. People from the world wants to come here and be next to each other, and tech can be powering these people to take it to the next level in their connection and ability.
Thank you so much, Hilaria. To Michael, you head up Google Hong Kong. So how do you view Hong Kong's strategic value to Google? And what role do you see Hong Kong play in terms of business expansion and your development strategy for Google? Thank you, Michael.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you to you, Kevin, and the entire executive team for kicking off this forum. It's just such a great way to connect with the global youth community. And to our 3,000 people tuning in live online, a big hello, but I would encourage you to also come by and visit Hong Kong and see for yourself what a vibrant city this really is. So when I think about technology, now I've been at Google now 13 years across Canada, Singapore, now Hong Kong. And I'm relatively new to Hong Kong. I've only been here 3 years. Here are some of my observations. I think Bernard and Alan already talked about Hong Kong being a super connector. But let me tell you about some of the real stories. So when tech delegations come to Hong Kong, startup delegations come to Hong Kong, I think what they see is a very open business and tech environment to support their growth, to support as connectors to both the China market and also to the global market as an incredible hub. And when you come to Hong Kong, you see all of these incredible technologies working perfectly, right? And I think that's what new businesses and new startups absolutely want. Secondly, my observation, having been in tech, now over 2 decades, I see a market that is really pushing ahead. So if you think about Hong Kong as the international financial hub, when I look at the financial service industry, they are already well ahead of the global benchmark in terms of AI adoption, right? It's nearly 40%, right? And that will only accelerate because of my final point, which is the thriving tech ecosystem here. So you've got folks like the cyberports, the Hong Kong Science Park. Just over the weekend, we were celebrating the Google Developers Group community, its 15th anniversary here in Hong Kong. And there were 2,000 developers all coming together who are literally building the new solutions and innovations for Hong Kong. And that is absolutely wonderful to see. And this community, just like hopefully the 3,000 people tuning in online, are coming together, are connecting, are co-creating really the future of Hong Kong. Now at Google, our mission really here in Hong Kong is to make tech and AI more helpful for everyone. And I can tell you, it's rare that you see a platform technology able to create so much innovation, right? And so whether you are a large organization, like a bank, for example, trying to work through how do you sort out anti-money laundering, types of technologies to continue to make things safe here in Hong Kong. I think these are wonderful technologies. But on the other end of that spectrum, you see small businesses really leveraging digital to go global. And so one of the examples that I always love to use is a small startup, not so small anymore, right? Kicks Crew. They sell collectible sneakers here, and they used to have a store in Mongkok. They are now selling collectible sneakers from Hong Kong to 40 countries around the world, right? And so you open up an entire opportunity and market for many of the businesses here, and we partner a lot, obviously, with Invest Hong Kong and the Trade Development Council to make sure that they are moving, aggressively through their digitization journey, because Hong Kong is just a great springboard for that. And so, lastly, what I'll say is, Google is celebrating our 20th anniversary here in Hong Kong this year. We had nearly 3,000 people at the convention center for our Cloud Summit in June. And we have a lot of wonderful products that I hope you use, but we will continue to invest in our products to make them more helpful for anybody that is coming to Hong Kong, right? And that includes Cantonese upgrades to our Google Translate. That includes, we just recently upgraded all of the Street View stuff in Google Maps. And so we'll continue to do these things to make sure that people have a very helpful experience with technology, and we'll continue to use our products here as well.
Thank you so much, Michael. That's so inspiring. As somebody who lives in Hong Kong, who was raised in Hong Kong, I really did not know that we had such a vibrant tech ecosystem in Hong Kong. So to hear it from you, it's personally just in the last few minutes, I've learned so much about tech in Hong Kong and the opportunities that we have in Hong Kong. So moving, I think, from the macro to the tech and regional perspective, I want to go towards a faith and heart perspective for Hong Kong. I'd like to go to Pastor Brett. Pastor Brett, your church actually acquired the Sunbeam Theater, which was the landmark deal of the quarter last year at $750 million. At a time where I would say Hong Kong was not as optimistic as today, it was a little not as optimistic. I'll just put it that way. Like, what was your organization's heart and faith in Hong Kong? Like, what propelled you guys to go into Hong Kong, double down, or even like really go for Hong Kong at a time when it was not so rosy?
Yeah, good question. I think from a macro perspective in my industry, and I'm a bit of an outlier on this panel here, but I'm a part of an industry that has a 2,000-year history of success. And so when we look at, I play a very small role of that, but when you look at the overall trajectory of the ups and downs historically, I mean, empires come and go, companies come and go, schools come and go, we were talking about this morning. And so when you look at the long-term staying power of something like a church, to me it seemed like a pretty easy decision. I mean, it's a big number, no lie, but to invest in the people of Hong Kong. So all that we're talking about in tech and and all these different factors, at the end of the day, it's people that use the tech, that are connected via tech, et cetera. And so my only product is people. I mean, we don't produce anything, right? Working in the NGO space, very much day-to-day in touch with the needs that people have. And so I think Hong Kong so beautifully challenges this. People often ask me about what word would you use to describe Hong Kong, and I often say extreme, because it's extreme in its pace, in its compensation, in its opportunity, in its diversity. It just describes a lot of Hong Kong. But oftentimes people come to Hong Kong to grab, to get, because of the opportunity. But they come to the end of that and realize no matter how much money you make, how fulfilling your career is, at the end of the day, you want to spend your off time with people, with your family, with friends. You want to have a well-balanced quality of life. And so in my field as a pastor, we get the chance to address that and to ensure that on a micro level, that individuals are balanced, but on a global or a citywide scale, to make sure that we're encouraging human flourishing, not just financial success or career climbing the ladder, but actually realizing that you are more than what your business card says, and that in order to really be deeply fulfilled, there's got to be more than that. That is part of it, but it's not all of it. And so we get a chance to look at Hong Kong and its needs, great opportunities, but the Gini coefficient that measures the gap between the wealth and the poor, it's not something we're real proud of. We're trying to address that because people have great needs, and a lot of those needs are met best, across a table or in a conversation. They're met on the soul level, not necessarily just on the career level. And so when you talk about making that investment, it was looking at both the needs of Hong Kong as well as the responsiveness of Hong Kongers to this recognition that at the end of the day, when you run the race and you make the money and you get the promotion, you do all the things and still aren't completely fulfilled, and you ask, is there more? Then we're here for you. Hopefully not waiting until that point, but to recognize that people are souls. And so to invest as massively as we have in the Sunbeam Theater is with a vision to continue. I hope to be here for another decade or more, but long-term, 50 years from now, I hope the legacy that is left by that investment is continuing to address the fact that people are holistic in nature. And that, as Jesus famously said, what does it profit a person to gain the whole world but lose their soul? So we posit that question repeatedly to make sure that there is a real integration of the spiritual dimension of someone's life into their career, their family, et cetera.
Thank you, Pastor Brett. The generosity, I think, of the organization you lead and the congregation is amazing. To raise $750 million to invest in the people of Hong Kong is no easy task. Moving to online, we're honored to have David Liao, the CEO of HSBC, join us. And I think, from his perspective, I'd love to ask, being from the financial sector And as Alan mentioned, finance is 20% of our GDP in Hong Kong, and it's one of our key industries. What do you see distinctly unique to Hong Kong?
Hi everyone, first of all, really excited to be able to join the Global Youth Powerhouse Summit. I'm really sorry to not be able to be with you all, mainly because I'm really excited about the panel and want to listen for myself, the pearls of wisdom that they are here to share. But I'm excited to participate myself also. And the initial topic is, why is Hong Kong unique and what does it really represent? And I think in short, Hong Kong has always been a city of connectivity. HSBC as a bank that was born here 160 years next year has always been a bank of connectivity, bridging trade, commerce, as well as finance. We had people flowing in and out, and Hong Kong has always been a city that represented China going out and also the international coming in. It really offers a wealth of opportunities for people who choose to be here to thrive and prosper.
Thank you, David. I think, so sharing about opportunities, at the end of the day, I think a lot of our panelists, one common thread so far that's been shared, it's about the people. In particular, I want to focus on being a leader today in Hong Kong, leading our respective organizations and industries. It's hard, especially in a time of transition. So perhaps David, I'll go to you first. What are some qualities and strategies that you believe are essential for being a leader today, and particularly in the context of Hong Kong, where we are in a transition stage?
I think the qualities of leaders that's essential for Hong Kong are the same qualities that's required in the rest of the world. You really need to be able to have an authentic, genuine, inquisitive character in this changing world. And Hong Kong is fascinating in that it's now come through a change of hands almost over a quarter of a century ago. We are seeing the one country, two system maturing. I say that as an active description because it's not really a static mode that you receive, but you are part of the architects of making the city vibrant in expressing the internationalism of China, and that design is a very intentional and conscious one. The other point to note is that we have never witnessed the speed of technological advance, and the world is changing faster because of it. It's very key to be able to have a mindset that is not entirely stuck on past tradition or past establishment, but be able to understand that, with technology, it intrudes into finance, into trade, into all sorts of industries, and really keen for thought leadership to bring originality into how to bring different services, and in our case, finance, in the best fit for purpose mode to serve the society. In summary, I don't think there's a better time in history for young leaders to come out to express their unique and intrinsic value to the world and spend the rest of their job to help others to express likewise. Looking forward to you testifying your success and be able to witness that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, David. He's actually in between a board meeting, so I think David's going to log off shortly. And to continue on this question, maybe I'll go to Michael first. What are some qualities or strategies that you believe are essential for leaders today?
Yeah, I think three things really come to my mind. I think today's next generation needs to continue to be curious, be bold, and be responsible as well, right? And so when I look at this in the context of technology, one of the things that we look at even when we hire people at Google is their natural curiosity and ability to learn, because technology is moving so fast. If you think about even in the last 18 months, how fast it's moved, everyone in our company is learning. Second is you got to think big and be bold. And so if you ever want to see the type of innovation that is going on here in Hong Kong, I would encourage all of you to pay a visit to either Cyberport or Science Park. They are literally building the future. They are using technologies to speed up drug discovery. They are weaving into the overall manufacturing and speeding that up. And if you want to, if that's not enough, I would encourage you to also go to the Hong Kong Science Fair, which is also here at the Convention Center once a year. And you can see all of the students coming up with incredible new science projects. And they're talking to you, okay? These are 10-year-olds talking about machine learning and the projects and the solutions that they want to create to make Hong Kong, more sustainable. And you'll come out of these thinking, wow, actually, I think everything's going to be fine, right? We have the next generation here already, and they are already building for the future. And then, my last point is always about we always got to be responsible too, right? And so as leaders, taking these calculated risks are going to be critical. But I think these are the three things: be curious, be bold, be responsible.
Thank you, Michael. To Bernie, who's a leader in so many areas, what are some of the key qualities you see are essential for leaders? And in particular, we're in a transition stage in Hong Kong.
Yep.
What are those key traits that we need?
See, Kevin, thanks to you putting Michael next to me, and see, this is Michael from Google talking about what the future should be like. The young people should be curious, think big, blah blah blah. This is fantastic. There you go. I represent another spectrum of Hong Kong where we are like, oh gosh, what's going to happen to us? Are we going to be eliminated? Are we going to still around? Because of people like you, who's going to take charge of the future?
But you can learn every day.
So coming back to your question, Kevin, what should leaders be like? Because I think right now, many leaders, we still sit with a legacy. You talk about the future. Many of us still thinking, oh shoot, what happened to our legacy? Does that still mean anything? Should we still hang on to it? Should we let go? That itself is a big question already, right? So I think for leader today, actually, by the way, Xi Jinping said it too, but I'm not quoting him. But he said, well, are you willing to embrace the change needed? First of all, do we even know there's a need of a change for legacy businesses, right? Do we want to embrace and know there is a crisis, a need to change? If that's the first step. Then the second step is, well, then do you know how to deal with the change? And then the third step is, well, then can you motivate everyone to come along? I think this is the problem right now. I think we're still stuck with the past because, hey, past success is a track record, right? And Brett was saying you have 2,000 years of history of success. Why change? No, you're not going to change. I know that. You're not going to change because your business is perpetual. But rest of us, can we still say that we're going to be here for good? I can't say that. I cannot. I'm telling you. I'm telling my colleagues that 10 years from now, we may not be around. Who knows what's going to happen to us? 5 years ago, no one even talked about AI. Now everyone's talking about AI. So it was my business to be around 5 years, 10 years from now. So today, as a leader, these are the questions we need to ask ourselves. Are we just going to be happy with the past? The past success is no guarantee for the future. That's the scary part. So I think as a leader today, I think in order for us to lead the rest of the company, right? I think first things first is are we willing to let go as well? Number one, and then the biggest challenge that I face, I'm sure many corporates are also facing, is how do we integrate the new recruits with my existing pool of people? Because many of us still sit on the old formula. Whereas all the young people coming today, they think big, they dream big, and they're not happy to stick around for more than 3 years. If you don't see change in 3 years, they move on. And that's my biggest crisis. 10 years from now, I would say 55% or more of my existing colleagues will be retiring. And I cannot expect there will be so-called loyalty, because today is Well, I don't know. I mean, I think that's the real challenge is, as Kevin put it, we are in the transition, not just about Hong Kong identity. It's about actually about the I shouldn't say introduction of technology. Technology is always around, but the thing is, because things are, as Michael put it, things are moving so fast. We don't have the luxury to think, oh, things will play out. I'm not so sure about that. So how prepared are we to embrace these changes coming, and coming at a pace that is beyond we ever have prepared for? Definitely not what maybe not today, but the question is, what are we educating our future generation? Because pretty much whatever they study today, knowledge, I mean, the knowledge that they acquire today, likely to be obsolete 10, 15 years from now, right? So are we training just purely about knowledge? Are we just passing on knowledge, or about character? About, I don't know, I guess it's character. Because otherwise, I'm not sure. This is a scary time. You know, last night someone sent me something about the deep fake, right? AI can replace any one of us in, you know, anything. So I think it's scary, but I think it's the right attitude and the right character that we need to be able to lead the change to happen.
Thank you, Bernie. I think open-mindedness is a key trait to what you just mentioned. What about Alan? What do you think are the key qualities for leaders today?
I think you've just heard from all speakers so far some very, very good examples of what leadership is all about. But for me, to be a leader, the number one thing is to be very positive in yourself, very, very positive, and also very confident. The problem, people who are not confident about the future are not because the future has always been scary. Yes, it's moving much quicker today, but as a leader, you have to set a goal for the company. I always say in my world, there's no bad staff, there's bad leaders. Because staff come to work every day wanting to know, to just want to help the company. They want to know how we can make the company better and better. The problem is some leaders just sit in their office and don't really communicate with their staff or do anything, and there's a disconnect then. You know, they're out playing golf, or they're out at, in closed offices or whatever. We're in a different world today. Young people, as we've all said, we're in a changing world, and changing so quickly. You know, you have EV cars that just came out of nowhere, electric cars that are now plastered around the world. You've got, these are all things that people came up with, leaders came up with, and then basically made it happen just overnight. And you're now talking about the low altitude industry, which is, flying taxis and, and getting off the road, and technology now. The green world is a whole new thing. So for leaders, you need to study all these new things. Robotics is another thing. You go to China, most factories have robots working, not people working anymore. And so leaders, companies, because of all the changes taking place, and on top of that, you have geopolitical problems, which again will affect this part of the world for sure, because now certain, U.S. talk about decoupling, with the new administration coming in, that presents a whole new host of problems, and it's up to leadership really, and have a strong leadership to just think future. And the past is already gone. You can't change the past. You can learn from the past. The future you can change. But by being positive, being a leader, that is the most important thing. In Hong Kong, luckily, we have, because our past, our system allows the freedom, the low tax base. We have 15-16% tax, which is one of the lowest in the world. And it's a free port, free exchange of money coming in and out, which most countries don't have. You've got restrictions. You've got to figure out ways to beat the system. You don't have to in Hong Kong. System is already so open that there's a free flow of everything, free flow of information, everything you can want. And again, it's up to leadership. And again, countries, the most important thing is the leadership of a country. And you know, we talk about leaders. If you have a leader that's just so, country goes nowhere. When you have strong leadership, we've had that in Hong Kong. I can tell you, it depends on, the country is only as good as the leader. And that's really very important. The leader needs to always think about tomorrow, accept change, don't be stubborn, be open-minded. That's the most important thing that I can always say, because many people are just very stubborn and they know better. Listen to your staff. They might not always be right, but they want to hear that the boss is listening to them. And that's really some of the points that I, in my management, in my career, my world, I've always followed those things. And just be one of the staff. Yes, they'll look up to you, but don't walk around with your nose up and disregard. Those companies never do well, I can tell you. And people come and go. You need staff that stay with the company, that keep adding to the staff to the company as the company grows. You need people who really can see the future with you as the leader, and that's the most important thing. And I have a lot of faith in Hong Kong because I know our young generation are, well, you yourself are not old, you're young, and this is, you know, I admire you for what you're doing because you're also trying to see the future and help our young people all over the world actually now to hear about what tomorrow is going to bring. So that's what leadership is all about. Be confident, be positive, and make things happen.
Thank you so much, Alan. Pastor Brett, what are your thoughts on leadership, especially for today?
You know, there's a lot of people that would like to say they are leaders, but all you need to do is look and see who's behind, right? I mean, if there's nobody following, then newsflash, you may not be a leader. But the quality of leadership, we see it exemplified in so many different arrays, right? This bold, like loud, strong arm kind of leadership, you know, and all those may have their moment. But if I were to pick a word or two for leadership that's effective, and it kind of echoes what's been said already, but the first word would be courageous, in that you're risk-taking. So we have an internal mantra among our staff that if you're not failing, you're not trying. And that just throws like people into, you know, comas because they don't know, what do you mean I have to fail in order to show you that I'm trying? But the point is that if you're secure, like Alan was saying, in who you are, if you've got an inner confidence, then you can fail and your sense of worth and value is not deterred, right? You're not basing your whole sense of who you are as a person on your win-loss percentage. And so that emboldens someone to take courageous steps. And if you fail at something, you learn something. And then you move on. But it's like Roosevelt's famous man in the arena speech, right? That it's easy to sit on the stage or sit on the sidelines and be critical or have, you know, a Monday morning opinion about what happened over the weekend. Those are cheap, right? For somebody to roll up their sleeves, courageously lead the way, and to speak boldly is inspiring to others. So when I think about leadership, I think about courage, but I also think about effective long-term leadership is servant-hearted. So it's not this upwardly mobile, grabbing, you know, power play. It's not an org chart focused thing, but it's an embodiment of a sense of genuine care for other people. And as was mentioned earlier, talking with your staff, being servant-hearted to the point where there's nothing that is off of your job description. You would move the chairs if you need to move the chairs, right? And that speaks to the character. Now, it's not a display of servant leadership. It is an actual servant leadership. You're not doing it for show or to make a point, but that you're not so impressed with yourself or the letters after your name that you are removed from the reality of where people live. And so that is beautifully attractive when you see it in someone and it's sincere. And you mix that with courage of someone that's willing to take risks, abandoning their own need for image management or reputation. That, I think, is very inspiring. And on the long term, it's really effective as well.
Thank you so much, Pastor Brett. Sorry, Alan just told me he has an urgent meeting, so he has to excuse himself first. But just as Alan excuses, I just want to respond. I think that coincidentally, Pastor Brett, you shared about servant leadership. Actually, when Jensen Huang was here just last week, and we asked him about leadership at NVIDIA, he specifically said that he built NVIDIA over the needs of the people and on serving his staff, making sure that they are able to grow with the company, and it's grown many times, and it's currently the world's #1 valuable company. So for the world's #1 valuable company and the world's longest organization to be surviving, both to be coinciding to say servant leadership as a key quality, I think that speaks volume. And in the interest of time, I'm just gonna go to the last question to Ilaria. Ilaria, I think you sit on the senior leadership of Grab, which is an app that is around the region, very phenomenal in helping different people with accessibility. And you also are World Economic Forum Global Council member. Given your roles, I think what are some distinct, unique opportunities that you see for Hong Kong today? And also, on a more personal note, you're somebody who grew up in Hong Kong and has witnessed the stories of people who have left and returned. What makes you still love Hong Kong and still come back to us?
Well, thank you so much for that question. I mentioned about the Afghanistan refugee who was driving the Uber that I met in San Francisco, who benefited from a hyper connectivity of that ecosystem that allows socioeconomic mobility and tech to allow him to live like that. The most amazing thing that he told me was that when he goes back to Afghanistan, he sees a flood of Chinese people there. Tourists from China who goes to Afghanistan, can you imagine like what the Western media paints about Afghanistan? People from China love to go visit. The next, he says they love doing business with Chinese people. Now let's zoom out. When I grew up, I was born in the 80s. The G7 countries dominated the brand name and the prominence. Today, when I was with Nigeria, the CEO of a Nigerian construction company last month in New York, they also bragged about and raved about how great it is to work with Chinese people, investors, people who build their infrastructure. Today, I think Chinese people, to many people in the world, in the Belt and Road countries, in Africa, even in Europe and other places, we are being looked up to and respected in the same way I think G7 countries were being looked up to in the past century. How are we capitalizing on that? Hong Kong being this glamorous, safe, wonderful city to live in that could be a hub and safe haven for people to come in to do business with China. How can we represent Chinese people to the world and act in this role? I think that's a huge opportunity, number one, is to be this, to represent proudly who we are as Chinese people to the world and how we can add value to these countries, especially who are developing and in the global south, as mentioned by previous speakers. The next thing, and I'll end with that point, is back to socioeconomic mobility and diversity, right? I think here, there's about 400,000 Filipino and Indonesian helpers that we all thank them to be the unsung heroes, to raise our children, help us with chores. How many of us know the stories of our helpers? How many of us know what is their hopes and dreams, the amount of GDP they contribute back to their country? Philippines has more than 100 million people, and they have young population that will defy the aging population probability. Indonesia, 200 plus million people. Between those two countries, there are more people than the United States, and they're just growing. Are we looking at all these people from diverse backgrounds and race as equals so that we can get to know them, be curious about them, network with them, work with them, and allow them to rise up the social ranks too in the society here? I think that would be a question for all the leaders here who are creating legislation for that. And I think one of the things that still is great about Silicon Valley and San Francisco, where I live in, there are many problems, but one of the great things is there's all kinds of people go there to realize their dream, and they can do it within a very short period of time because someone will give them a scholarship that they can get the degree and get that job in Google, Then they can collaborate with the head of Google if they have a good idea, and bam, they can make it, and they can create a future. And there isn't the ceiling that is created by a lot of legacy businesses. I would love to see all the legacy businesses in Hong Kong embrace, because you guys are cash rich in many ways too, in real estate. Can you use your funds to encourage these talents to grow and create businesses that work for all countries and all kinds of people from different backgrounds? That's the future I would love to see for Hong Kong.
Thank you so much, Larry. A big round of applause to our panelists. Thank you so much. And with that, we're going to go into a tea break, but may I invite our panelists for a group photo, and thank you very much.
Okay. So let's take a break now and come back for more exciting discussions. The second panel will start in 15 minutes. Thank you.
Yep. Yep, you.
Hello, hello. Can you, would you like to, hello, hello. Hi. Yes. Yes. Okay. So we will use the you have two screen now. So we would like to test. Maybe we only use the one screen.
The second panel will commence in 5 minutes. We would appreciate that you could take your seats. Thank you. The second panel is about to start. Please be seated. The second panel is about to start. Please be seated. Okay, welcome back to the Global Youth Powerhouse Summit. I hope you are all refreshed and ready for the second panel. The panel will focus on the medical and insurance sector, titled The Health Economy, Navigating Innovations for a Resilient Future. So let's welcome our session moderator, Mr. Jason Law, a committee member of our Hong Kong Youth Professional Global Advocacy. He will introduce our esteemed panelists. So let's pass the stage to Jason and all the panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Good morning and welcome back from the tea break. I hope it was refreshing for all of you. I'd like to also thank those joining online on YouTube and Facebook. So welcome to the session titled The Health Economy, Navigating Innovations for a Resilient Future. I'm honored to act as the moderator for this session. You're probably here because you've seen our panelist list for the session, so they need no further introduction. Before I invite them on stage, let me introduce myself. My name is Jason Law. My background is in public health and medicine with an interest in technology and its innovation in the healthcare sector. So enough with myself. Let's get right into the session as we have less than an hour. So without further ado, may I please invite Mr. Kelvin Yu, Product Officer, Chief Product Officer of FWD Hong Kong and Macau. Dr. Kevin Lau, Founding Executive Chairman of Trinity Medical Group. Mr. David Chang, Founding Managing Partner of Mindworks Capital. Mr. Sam Lim, Chief Information Technology Officer of Prudential Hong Kong. And Mr. Jonathan Lee, Chief Distribution Officer of AXA Greater China, Hong Kong and Macau. And via Zoom, we are also honored to have Dr. Kai-Ning Chung, the U.S. National Academy of Medicine, HKU Global Leadership Fellow. So let's take a seat. So thank you for coming today. So I think Mr. David Chang, we're going to start off with you. So I did some homework. I did my homework as the moderator, and I understand that you and your company, you invest in the technology sector with an AUM of more than 233 million US dollars. So with some in the healthcare sector. So Hong Kong has long had the longest life expectancy in the world. As an expert in longevity medicine and wellness, could you share with us your insights into the latest trends in this field? Like, how do we live long but also live well?
Wow, that's a very good, that's a very heavy question. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here today. Also, thank you, Kevin, for organizing such a wonderful event. To clarify, our AUM is about actually 1.4 billion, but our latest fund is 220 million US that we're deploying through Mindworks right now. Back to a question on longevity. Yes, Hong Kong has the longest life expectancy in the world. Number 2 is Japan, last check. It's good, but it's also bad. So because according to the government statistics, CSD department, by 2036, over 30% of Hong Kong will be considered elders. So because we're living longer, there'll be more older gentlemen on the streets, which also means that currently over 30% of the entire population are middle-aged, including myself. So the middle-age sector or the segment is actually the highest spending, has the most firepower of the entire group of any society. And the critical concern of most middle-aged gentlemen or ladies in this juncture is longevity. So that's where Hong Kong is right now. That is also, for me, I think from an investment's perspective, is where the opportunity set will be because of the current juncture. Who here has heard of Medicine 3.0? Anyone? 3.0? Anyone know Brian Johnson, Peter Taya, Andrew Huberman, these gentlemen? So that is a new wave of what we're seeing from, at least from our tech investment perspective, of the next paradigm in healthcare. Medicine 2.0 is about detection and treatment. Medicine 3.0 is highly personalized, highly precise because of different wearables that you have in your body, and also continuous. That means as a customer of a business, the LTV for this business is very high. So that's where I think Hong Kong will be going in the future, as a mecca potentially for medicine 3.0. But policy, investors, myself included, and the insurance companies and doctors will have to work cohesively to garner and to grow the space. Thank you.
Great. So a lot on precision medicine and the future of healthcare in Hong Kong. So let's move on to our representatives from the healthcare sector. So Dr. Kevin Lau, as the founder of Trinity Medical, you know that Hong Kong is known for its advanced healthcare systems and its infrastructure. From your perspective, what unique advantages does the healthcare industry have to offer here? And what opportunities do you see for future developments?
Thank you, Jason. I would say that there are three folds. The first point I'd like to say is that I really believe that Hong Kong is designed to be a Chinese Western medicine holistic wellness hub. And I say that not just as a tagline or as a gimmick. And I want to share a few facts to illustrate this. One is that 20 years ago, our CE, Mr. C.H. Tung at the time, actually had a vision of Chinese medicine hub for Hong Kong. One of the things he instrumentally did at the time was actually started a 9-year bachelor Chinese medicine degree. A 9-year Chinese medicine degree, I can say, is actually one of the most professional, most rigorous, longest Chinese medicine degree in the world. And over the last 20 years, we have accumulated numerous of these graduates in Hong Kong. So we have the people of this very high caliber, well-educated Chinese medicine practitioners who are trained with a scientific mindset, with evidence-based. So all the things that I think we're used to in the Western medicine, the last 20 years of these locally trained Chinese practitioners have. The other thing is that we have the hardware. Hong Kong, we will be having our first Chinese medicine hospital shortly. And in the last 10 years, Hospital Authority has actually been running programs for stroke patients and patients with different pain effects that they're able to do combined Chinese and Western medicine. So I'd really argue and I'd say that Hong Kong is uniquely placed to do this well, especially in a world where everybody is talking more about wellness or medicine 3.0, as David just alluded to. There's a huge momentum that is going towards that direction. And Hong Kong has that hardware and software to propel this wellness Chinese Western medicine hub. Secondly, I would like to say is that because of the policies that we've had in Hong Kong, we are now able to have not only the newest and the best drugs after FDA has approved or in Europe that's approved to come into Hong Kong, and that's also been checked by our respective Department of Health authorities. But more recently, we're now able to have drugs that have been approved in the mainland also come in to Hong Kong very swiftly. Now, as an operator, I see that as a huge advantage because what that means is patients in Hong Kong not only gets the newest and the best drugs from the West, but we're now able to access drugs that are newest and perhaps not as expensive in Hong Kong. So we're able to target patients, not just the most expensive, but really patients who want the best but may not want to pay the most. Our market has just enlarged quite sizably. And that's the second point. The third point I want to say is that with, again, the different policy support, a lot of our drugs and machines going through Hong Kong, be it from mainland via Hong Kong to outside or the other way, we have huge advantages. And I say that with, for example, in imaging, some of our machines that at Science Park, that if they're made in Science Park and then going into mainland, they get 50% tax tariffs less than other overseas suppliers. So that's a huge advantage for the ecosystem of doing medical devices and medical drugs, which is also why I think some of our early speakers on our other panel alluded to why the AstraZeneca and the MSDs have put new offices in Science Park. It's because of this huge opportunity.
Great. So human resource, manpower, systems, and policies are as important as infrastructure. Yes. So Dr. Kai, as a public health fellow in practice in the field, could you share with us some of your visionary insights into global health and pediatrics? what are the emerging directions in integrated healthcare, and do you think, like, what of these integrated healthcare do you think Hong Kong can take a lead in?
Thank you very much to Kevin and the panel for having me here today. And I'd like to echo what our previous speaker, David, was talking about in terms of the health system 3.0. So I think from a global perspective, all countries are talking about health system transformation frameworks. And that is really identifying the paradigm shift that we need to have from moving from episodic care towards a continuum of care, and not just personal health, but also whole person health and whole person well-being. And the major issue with our current health systems, wherever you are globally, is workforce attrition. That's a major problem, but also not just a systems performance perspective, but also from the outcomes that we're trying to, or the values that our systems are actually promoting and endorsing, and how do we really ensure precision, equity, sustainability are embedded, and how do we move from just whole person health towards intergenerational health. And well-being of the whole person, also taking into account social welfare delivery and all the social determinants of housing, work, education, and the wider communities that we know all influence our health status. So there is a system shifts that everyone is moving towards, and certainly innovation and integration are vehicles of that. So talking a little bit more also about what Kevin brought on, raised with the issue of the East-West sort of influence, and also what leverage Hong Kong has. It's quite interesting, and also RC's latest policy address in October, that there is policy commitment for that, which is very promising. So we are talking about integration vertically, horizontally, and also longitudinally. So vertically, in the sense of across sort of various different primary, secondary, and healthcare sectors, we are reorganizing our hospital authority and Department of Health to reduce inefficiencies. From the longitudinal sector is also to take the integration of time. So doing a continuum of care all the way from maternal health to preconception to delivery to bundled screening incentives and also objectives all across the life course journey of a person, from childhood to adolescent transition to the elderly age group as well. So looking at that continuum of care over time, and then also horizontal integration, which is across various sectors. So not just health, but also greener communities, sustainability, tech, AI, and then how do we put this all together into one big integrated model. So this is probably where we are at. We have policy commitment. There is funding collaboration with NGOs and our philanthropy supporters. So, Jockey Club just committed to also a climate change initiative, which is meant to be integrated with whole person health and also health research. So I think it's very promising that we have levers of transformation that are certainly being utilized. And I think if we think of the bigger picture of how we put this all together into the greener, wider community, the vehicle would be health systems or systems integration with cross-sectoral collaboration. The engine would be integration, and then the catalyst would be innovation. And the driver of this electrical car vehicle would really be all of us with collaborative leadership. So I think one last point is also to tie into the East-West connection. So I think having worked in the Hong Kong and various sectors, I've been in Africa with Doctors Without Borders, I've been in the UK and also the US. I think there is a lot of opportunity for collaboration and also conversation. We are a smaller, homogenous population and geographically, sort of denser, in the sense that we have a real opportunity to really implement change here in a much more rapid and driven manner, with a tops-down approach and with really policies that drive change and really see the results very effectively, but also taking on the East-West lessons that we've learned throughout the past, and also that will help drive us forward to the future. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Great. So Dr. Kai shed light on some of the components, of, like some of the 6 components of the healthcare system. Financing is also a very important component of a healthcare system. So let's move on to the insurance sector. So financial services is one of the 4 key industries in Hong Kong. So with insurance playing a significant role in healthcare as well, especially in supporting healthcare and healthcare. So how can Hong Kong further position itself as an international insurance hub? What are some of the challenges or opportunities you see for growth of insurance and preventive care innovations here? Kelvin.
Okay, thank you, Jason. So I think Hong Kong has always enjoyed a high autonomy in terms of the insurance regulatory environment. The reason I say that is, I'm from an insurance company. I'm now the chief product officer, which required to develop the products for the company. So I see that around the product, the insurance regulation is mostly principle-based. And most of the product types, insurance product in Hong Kong doesn't need to go through the regulatory approval. So if we can continue to maintain this highly principle-based environment, we can continue to attract more global insurance companies to Hong Kong to promote competition, innovation, as well as time to market, which ultimately will help more customers to close their protection gap. On the other hand, to protect customers, we also see the regulator issue many guidelines around product, like recently on the power fund management, risk-based capital. So all these are good for the financial security of the insurance industry. But at the same time, we also need to continue to review these guidelines and modernize them to make sure that the industry can strike a balance between customer protection and product innovation. And ultimately, with such balance, we can keep increasing Hong Kong's competitiveness across Asia. So apart from regulation, I also want to touch on, Hong Kong is in a really good position. The company should continue to leverage more on our strong access to international and China market. So a few examples. For example, like Hong Kong is an international financial center, which means that we have a free money flow. We have access to investment opportunities around the world. And this help the companies to develop more competitive products for wealth accumulation, legacy planning, and retirement planning. And secondly, the cross-border collaboration also is very important to us, because we can get access to all the latest technology in mainland China, and we can also bundle this technology into our insurance product and operation to benefit our customer.
Great.
So I think in terms of opportunity, just want to touch a little bit on. I think David mentioned about medicine. People know about personalization, right? Insurance product is also getting more personalized nowadays. So many companies try to develop modular product to adapt to the need of different customers. And I'm also an actuary by background. So for insurance products, always about the very long future. So we need to do a lot of calculation, prediction about the customer behavior, mortality, lapse. So with all this big data, we can have a more accurate pricing model and ultimately deliver better values to the customer. I think another thing is GBA. We talked about GBA this morning as well. I think Hong Kong people and mainland Chinese customers, they are now, it's easy for them to cross the border. And they are now given even wider choices of medical service across GBA, not just Hong Kong, but GBA. So I think one of the opportunities is that if we can develop a GBA insurance product that not only provide insurance coverage across GBA, but also provide this customer a seamless and convenient access to all these medical service across Asia, that will actually suit the lifestyle of Hong Kong people and mainland Chinese customer much better. So I think these are some of my points sharing.
Great. So Sam, apart from opportunities and challenges, as the Chief Information Technology Officer, what are other innovations as well that you will implement or have implemented?
Right. So I think we take a step back and take a look at the bigger picture. So what we've been talked about is actually a really, really true year. So first thing Hong Kong really needs to do to continue this leadership is to maintain its strategic advantage in terms of its location, as well as the robust regulatory framework, right? And in that, companies, private and public, need to actually work together across industries and across even same industries with even startups and tech companies to continue sort of innovations as we move forward, right? And I think a lot of that and a lot of the challenges come from having the talent and being able to attract the proper talent into Hong Kong, as well as into these companies and into the right industries, right? So I think that those are things that are coming. As far as embracing innovation, I think that's also another challenge that we all need to take a look at and make sure that we continue so that we can continue this leadership. And that includes embracing things like we talked about today, Medicine 3.0, as well as things such as AI, right? And the faster we do that, the better.
Right, so, okay, moving on to Jonathan, like, not only are you in charge of the Hong Kong and Macau region, you're also in charge of the Greater China region. What are some other opportunities and challenges that you can see in your position?
Right. Thank you, Jason. I think let's back to the fundamentals. Like you said, insurance is one of the very important pillar in the financial industry. And it carries a very unique purpose, or somehow a noble purpose. It provides protection, provides access, and also provides experience to our clients, especially on rainy days. And back to your question on Hong Kong has always been known for its international financial center. But I think what's really important, and it's actually our strength, is to forge also Hong Kong into our international medical center. Because Hong Kong, we have abundant medical resources, we got the talents, we got all the facilities. So I think Hong Kong is in a very competitive advantage to turn into another, apart from international financial center, but also an international medical center. I think we are in a very good position to radiate our influence, not only in Hong Kong, but also, like Kevin mentioned, to the wider region, to GBA, to China, or even to Southeast Asia. And I think insurance and medical are beautifully married together, financially and also the access to resources. So this would be something I would personally be very interested to contribute and to forge Hong Kong into. And Jason asked about the opportunities and challenges. I think one of it is partially an answer and also a challenges to ourselves is to push the boundaries from insurance perspective. As the medical technology advances, there are more medical 3.0, more variables. We also need to push our boundary, push our pricing models, push our the product design, because insurance industry also needs to advance. It needs to evolve with the medical industry. So first would be to breakthroughs, push the boundaries. Secondly, I think it's very much about embracing the emerging risk, longevity, inclusive insurance, substandard risk. There are that much of perfectly healthy customer citizens in the society. So what about protecting those with substandard risk? Is there anything that we could do about it? So this is very much about us to embrace the risk and also push the boundaries, push the actuaries, push the pricing models, right, Kevin? And I think there's a huge room for growth here because now there's something we have not harnessed the power, that would be the data and AI. How do we foster more exchanges between the data of medical facilities and insurance companies? How do we push the boundaries? How do we obtain more data from the wearables? I think there are a lot of things to do, and the growth area, the room for growth is actually enormous.
Right, so technology also involved in these components. So from what I've heard from our panelists today up until now, it seems like the common thread of this session seems to be like Hong Kong is in a good position in various aspects, like manpower, infrastructure, legacy, and also embracing changes as well. But like we should not be simply content with our current accomplishments. Like, could anyone share with us your thoughts on like what actions should we take to strengthen Hong Kong's healthcare sector and position it as a more international or international hub for health and medical innovation? So, open to anyone.
Maybe I can start.
Sure.
Yeah, I think Hong Kong has. So let's look at the facts, okay? So first point, what Sam mentioned was a talent issue. In any society, innovation or production is always a function of policy. Talent has been recently resolved, the policy issue, from my perspective. There was a huge exodus of Hong Kong talent at the beginning of COVID. I think everyone knows, everybody agrees. But recently, there has been a reversing in that trend. The last 2 years of the talent visa, the Gouchai Gaiwa, 140,000 visas was granted incoming to Hong Kong. So from our data, our internal MindWorks data, we saw there's an uptick in the talent. So I think the talent issue has resolved. Number two comes down to tech. Luckily for us in Hong Kong, we don't need to develop a lot of our tech. Tech comes in two parts, the hardware and the software. Our neighbors in the north are very good at making hardware tech. We cannot compete. And I think I talked to Kevin recently that Chinese-made MRI machines has dropped, in terms of cost, 80%. And we are coming out with highly precise, highly accurate 5 Teslas and 3 Teslas machine for MRI. So this is something we can source. Software side, China, number one. Maybe number one or number two, depending on how you view. So this is something we can tap on and integrate into Hong Kong right away to scale. Last point I want to make, third part. So the talent is here, the tech is achievable. And the last point is what I think of called a go-to-market strategy. I personally think the medical tourism is a huge frontier, especially for Hong Kong. I think if we continue to try to compete with our neighbors up top in terms of F&B spending on retail, we will lose. There's a war that we cannot fight. But what we can do is boost a medical tourism that has a peripheral effects that will bring in and boost on our F&Bs and other spendings. I think everyone can agree on that. So I think medical tourism is something as policymakers should be taking heed. This is something that investors will back into. The numbers are there. Globally, last year, 47 billion was spent on medical tourism in terms of people going across bounds. Thailand obviously leads in that. They have about 1 to 2 billion of that. And last point I want to make statistically is Hong Kong has triple of hospital beds than Singapore, for example. We're 5,700. Singapore is about 1,500. In terms of monetary value, that's a $700 million capturable market right there.
Right. Sam, would you like to shed light?
Yeah, thanks, David. There's something I think we want to touch upon here that's quite interesting is, actually, I believe Hong Kong has some of the most sophisticated customers in the world, right? And you might call it picky, or you might call it lots of choices, but Hong Kong has very, very sophisticated customers, and just being in Hong Kong makes you very sophisticated. So I think going forward, what we need to do to maintain this leadership is continue high quality, right? Delivering on high quality, whether it be tech, people, innovations, et cetera, and doing that for our customers. And that essentially brings Hong Kong into a leadership position already, right? And that's sort of my 2 cents on where we should fit in as customers as well.
Jonathan?
Sure. I think Hong Kong is a very small place, but at the same time, the concept of hub enables us to radiate our influence beyond. I think if more and more companies, more and more leaders in the room or in the society that carries the same belief, Hong Kong would really radiate our strength from medical, financial, or innovations to a much wider region. That's number one, that would be the concept of hub. Secondly, I think it's very much about how do we constructively contribute to the policy setting. David mentioned the talent has been sorted lately. Yeah. And I think beyond talent, then the policy to facilitate how do we incubate innovations, how do we foster further integrations between regions, that would be key as well. Dr. Lau mentioned the tariff aspects. I think these all policies, if it comes together, the power is enormous. And I think the third point I'm trying to make would be, we talk about embrace the risk, embrace the changes. if we want Hong Kong to be much stronger, I suggest we don't only embrace the change, but also be the change. We have all the talent in the room, and we have abundance of resources. There are advantages that we could make. Instead of being a followers, we could be leaders in some aspects. But it's very much about the mindset. How do we not only embrace the change, but also be the change?
Hey, would you like to add a bit more on leadership as well?
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Jason. I think one is that, I really, when I say this, I really am very thankful to our audience and the 4,000 online to take the time and effort to learn from all the panel discussions this morning. Personally, I think like one takeaway I had this morning was that, hearing from the head of Google in Hong Kong to talk about the developments of tech in Hong Kong and where it is, and him saying that we're one of, the best in the world because of the 40% of the AI in it. I mean, it's very new to me because, to be honest, sometimes I feel like as a professional, we're in our own little, silo. We are in our own paradigm, and sometimes we may be bogged down by, what's happening in us or around us, and we don't have that open-mindedness to understand actually there are a lot of really fascinating things out there, and it's not just us saying it. These are industry leaders who are doing it day in and day out in Hong Kong. So I think one is that, for people to have the open-mindedness to just hear it out, at least be open to hear, and then hopefully we can internalize, and then hopefully we can grow it. So like just now I mentioned healthcare, the Chinese and Western medicine holistic hub is one. Second is that we have, accessibility to the best and the newest drugs and the best and the affordable drugs. And third is, being a trade hub for medical devices in the region. I mean, these are actual things that I think we have such an edge. And I think, but regarding that, I want to say is that it takes time. Another thing I want to mention, one is open-mindedness. Second is the patience. For example, in healthcare, these three opportunities are huge, and I hope I've been able to convince all of you that with the facts I've backed up. But it takes time. It takes patience. It requires leaders, all of you in this room, to take a longitudinal view. Sometimes as leaders, we can't be so swayed by the day or swayed by the week or swayed by the year even. We need to take a 5-year, 10-year, or even a much longer eternal view of things. And only then can we steer the organization and the opportunities.
Great. Kelvin?
So in terms of the action, right? Well, I think first of all, Hong Kong is insurance is a very mature market in Hong Kong. We are such a small market, but we have almost 160 insurance companies in Hong Kong. It's very competitive, and our insurance penetration rate is also one of the highest across the world. But having said that, I still see there are huge protection gap in Hong Kong, especially in some of the area like mental health and elderly protection. And especially during COVID, we have the social distancing for quite a long while. And these measures actually highlight this gap quite a lot. I talked to some of the NGO and they share some of the story of the elderly stuck in their home without people visiting them. So all these after COVID has been highlighted, mental health as well. So I think if the insurance industry can do more, take more action to close this gap, it will help Hong Kong to strengthen our position. So take mental health as an example. I think you can see that there is a growing awareness of mental health in the past few years due to the COVID, and you can see people are more open to talk about their mental health issue. I think we start to see some insurance product to provide coverage, but at the same time, I'm thinking like a more one-stop solution that not only provide financial protection, but also like bundle with some like third-party platform to provide professional mental health support to these people. It's not about financial protection anymore. It's more about to encourage people to reach out for help early when they have some mental health issue through this convenient and private platform. That's what we want to do. And secondly, on aging population, I mean, Jason mentioned about Hong Kong has a very long life expectancy. Actually, do you know that we are the longest, even longer than Japan? So the aging population is really a big issue for Hong Kong. And well, again, apart from providing product that cover those elderly diseases like dementia, I think we can also work with other sectors, like NGO specialized in elderly care, to bring these advanced home care services to our insurance product and to connect them to our customer. I think we can't do it alone. I think the most important thing is this cross-sector collaboration is going to make Hong Kong even stronger and make us strengthen our position as an international hub.
Great. So, Dr. Kai, in the field as a practitioner in the field of global health, what are some actions we can do in the field as a practitioner?
Thank you very much. So I think, as our other panelists have also talked about, the key thing is cross-sector collaboration and leadership. And so I think in order to really achieve this, we are talking about aligning our objectives, agreeing that our value-based outcomes are longitudinal. You know, you can't really justify funding for something that comes 50 years down the line unless you all agree and align this sort of co-funding initiative that basically judges sort of value-based outcomes rather than financial ones immediately. So we need to align our policies, our strategies, and also the funding source. I think it's quite promising that our other panelists have also mentioned all of these in isolation, but as Kevin said, we don't live and function in silos. You know, as communities, we need to jump out of the siloing and put it all together. And it's easy to talk about each sector on its own, but really top-down leadership, integration, and collaboration is super important. So we need stakeholder consensuses. There are countries who have also implemented sort of specific departments within the government to really look at cross-sector collaboration and ensure that the financial, legislative, and the executional sort of levers of transformation are all there, and that's putting it not just in policy but also from a legislative perspective of promoting integrated greener communities. So I think for Hong Kong, one specific point to really take note is that we do represent the perfect intersection of precision medicine and population medicine. So funding for these two streams is usually divergent. But if we think of health as a continuum over life, you know, we have newborn screening in 8 of our birthing hospitals, and that's going to be extended to the private sector as our CE has committed in his policy address. So, you know, that's, you know, from the perspective of pediatric health, with the Hong Kong Children's Hospital as the hub and spoke regionally as well. We can do everything from precise newborn screening all the way to health screening through life, and having health screening on a primary care level really integrated and supported by either the hospital authority or also with insurance packaging. If we can really focus on primary prevention, promotion, and screening, and then have that tied in with, you know, sort of longitudinally towards care over time and health promotion, and also mental health screening, as our other panelists have mentioned, but also to very precise diagnostics and therapy. So this one streamlined golden thread from, you know, screening not just for newborns, but also for children in general, and from primary care for adults, all the way to innovative therapy has to be consolidated. We're still one of the only Asian countries that has, you know, at least in pediatrics, done newborn screening all the way to gene therapy in one very cohesive loop at Children's Hospital. So, you know, that's something with that we can expand to the wider population, and we this is the perfect opportunistic time, place, person, to really put together precision health, population health, and have this financial model converge, and have the policies that really drive us towards precision health, population health, and also planetary health, incorporating sustainability initiatives that we are already obviously developing. And so AI and tech are vehicles to help us achieve this transformation, but we need to leverage the integration on the community level and across all of our health systems, whether it's primary, secondary, or tertiary, as well as the funding, to ensure that we have the long-term population data that will continue to feed back into the AI support and tech that will then promote health over time as well. So I think there's a way to put this all together, and we need a consensus stakeholder leadership to really drive that forward. Thank you.
Great. So we should embrace challenges together as a community as a whole. So before the Q&A session, I have one question for David. So healthcare innovation has always been high investment, long payback period in nature. So however, as a venture capitalist, you have shown strong commitment in empowering young entrepreneurs and supporting startups, particularly in Hong Kong and also in the healthcare sector. What drives your passion for investing in startups in Hong Kong?
Well, let's go back a little bit on the Hong Kong history. I love my city. I love Hong Kong. Hong Kong has been a city that's actually built by entrepreneurs in the early 50s and 60s. People who are second, third generation here, most likely your parents or your grandparents are entrepreneurs that has made it to the city. Somehow, during the cycles, we became a city more focused on professionalism, professionals, which is great. But Hong Kong never lost the entrepreneurial spirit. And I never liked the term that has been used quite frequently when people say, oh, Hong Kong is back. That implies that Hong Kong was gone recently, but it's not true. We were always here. So never use that sentence, we're always here. It's just because your media that you use was not covering Hong Kong doesn't mean we're gone. Living here every single day, I can feel the vibe, very energetic. Ultimately, Hong Kong, to me, is not just a city, it's more like energy. It's very fast. Hong Kong people are known to be very efficient, we're very nimble. My job as a venture capitalist is to find that Hong Kong energy and that fire and to reignite that in the younger generation of Hong Kong. I'm very happy to be here today with one really purpose and to talk to the young people, maybe online or in the audience here today, to tell them that the policies are here. The capital is here. The infrastructure is here. And we're here to listen to you. And as a venture capitalist, my capital is long-term. We are the patient capital. 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, doesn't matter. As long as it takes. We're not the fast in, fast out capital. So if you do have an idea, please come to me as a venture capitalist. I'll introduce you more venture capitalists in the city. And we're here to fund you and to listen to you. And most importantly, you have to think about 5 things before you come, hopefully. Your margins, your moat, your growth, your TAM, and your team. And please, and my contact will be somewhere on the website, and we're happy to chat. Thank you.
Great, so we have a 101 from, yes. So I hope that inspires us all to build industries in Hong Kong and work together as a whole. I've been told we don't have any time for any questions, so you feel free to catch them off the stage after the session. And I guess that's today, and I hope we all have something to take away from the session. Thank you.
Please join me in giving a round of applause, and would the panelists stay on stage for a group photo? Thank you. Please take a seat. We have now reached the third and final panel discussion of the day, focusing on the rapid evolving digital and creative sector. The panel topic is Digital and Creative Economies Innovating for Tomorrow. So may we welcome to the stage our session moderator, Mr. William Du, a committee member of our Hong Kong Youth Professional Global Advocacy, myself, and esteemed panelists. Ms. Anne Lim Chaplin, founding publisher of Prestige and #Legend. Mr. Ray Chan, founder and chairman of 9gag. Mr. Jason Mok, founding partner of Capital Union Investments Limited. And via Zoom, we are honored to have Mr. Jason Ma join us, founder of East West Ventures.
Okay, so thank you. I think we had a great 2 sections, and this is the last one. And I don't want to stand between you and lunch, so we're going to be very, very precise about our topic. And this is a very interesting topic. This is a topic very dear to my heart. How to innovate for creative and digital economies in Hong Kong. So we have, I think I'm the least cool people on stage, because everyone sitting here or dining in all have amazing sort of legacies and stories. First is Anna Ling. So she launched the award-winning first sort of luxury lifestyle magazines in Hong Kong and for Asia. So this is tremendous. And then next to Anna Ling is Ray. So his company, starting in Hong Kong, has 200 million viewers and fans. So this is a huge achievement for a Hong Kong startup. And next to it, we have Jason here. So Jason represented hundreds of billions of dollars. And he's very successful in investing a lot of companies, Facebook, Groupon, NextVRs. So he's going to come from the investor's point of view. Then we have another lady representative here, Stephanie, who is a lovely MC. You know what? She works for a shirt company as a female, representing Determinate. They also have a booth here. So after the session, please try their shirt. And yeah, so she's very passionate about sustainability and ESG. So we're going to talk about that as well, how that's going to blend into digital and creative industry. Last but not least, we are a global conference. So we must have someone dialing from afar. So we have Jason Ma here, who is, whose bio is truly, truly amazing. So Jason, hello. Jason is the founder of East West Ventures, senior advisor to Tencent Music. So, he founded a lot of different companies, including the 88 Rising, Stampers Ventures. He invested in music videos Thrilled, and he's also helping a lot of digital and entertainment. So he's a really big shot in the States. So let me stop here by introducing the guests. I'm sure that you can Google them, you can find more information about them. But I want to go straight to our first questions. The question is about the ecosystem in Hong Kong. So we always talk, Hong Kong has been a very creative hub for Asia. We have this kind of history. I grew up watching, TVBs and watching all the Hong Kong's films. But now we're figuring out the way forward, how we're going to do it as the next sort of a hub. So I want to ask the panelists as a whole, what do you believe are the key elements, to create a thriving ecosystems in Hong Kong for digital and the creative economy? So maybe I start with the lovely lady next to me. Anna Ling, please.
Hi, I know it's lunchtime now, so I'm going to keep my answers really succinct so that you can go for lunch. I think I'm the only one on this panel that is from the print magazine industry. And honestly, that makes me feel so old. But I have, my daughters are such big fans of Jason and Raymond. They think, and Ray, they think they're so cool. But I've created and launched 20 magazines in my career from scratch. And these are some of my key takeaways that I've learned along my journey of success and failures. And I hope to help you demystify what are the key elements to help our creative industry flourish. I've got three points. One is identity, 2 is talent, and 3, technology. Identity is so important. All of us have a unique identity. We are wonderfully and fearfully made. So if we know who we are and who we are talking to, that is know yourself, know your audience, then you can create the best content for them. When I launched Prestige 20 years ago, my launch editor at that time coined the word luxury lifestyle. And these two simple words really just set us apart from our competitors at that time. There were fashion magazines, there was society magazine, but none of them were luxury lifestyle. So just having this identity, establish our identity, help us really steer our editorial and design strategy. And we became profitable very quickly. And because people really knew what we were talking about, that was our identity. And Hong Kong people love luxury goods and experiences. So we became so profitable that by our 3rd anniversary, we produced one of the thickest magazine in the world, print magazine in the world. It was 888 pages, and it weighed like 3 kg. But that's because of our identity. We had a very strong identity. And 2 is talent. I mean, I was really lucky when I started my career that Stanford University had this professional course for publishing executives. So they would gather together the most successful publishers, designers from around the world to share their experiences with us, and also to work with us on creative projects. So we got to rub shoulders with the likes of Martha Stewart, JFK Jr., and even Milton Glaser, who designed the iconic I Love New York logo. So I knew at that time from the experience that whoever tells the best stories win. And I knew the kind of talents that I needed to launch Prestige. And Hong Kong is the perfect place to launch a luxury magazine because we have such a rich pool of creative talents. And we have, our workforce has one of the most well-educated, sophisticated, and diverse workforce in the world. So that's talent. And 2, and 3 is technology. Don't be afraid to embrace technology to reach your audience and to create good content. When I sold my magazine to a German publishing company, Prestige, after 10 years, I sold it to a German publishing company, and I launched #Legend. I wanted it to be digital first. And my digital editor at that time came out with the word luxury fast forward. And that really, again, established our identity. And we were able to use technology to increase our revenues by doing digital covers. As a monthly magazine, we could only do like 12, but for digital, it's unlimitless. We could do digital covers. We created really creative content for brands on our social media platforms. And so don't be afraid, but don't rush into it. Don't be afraid of new mediums, but don't rush into it. I mean, I don't want to tell you about my NFT covers. It's too embarrassing. That's another story for another time. But use technology, to reach, create new contents. Use it in a meaningful manner and a useful manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Annalyn. Excellent. I mean, your entrepreneur journey from Prestige to #Legend is basically just finding the identities, recruit talents that you have, and then use technology. Wonderful. These are 3 elements in this ecosystem. Ray, what's your view?
I think sometimes in Hong Kong, people love to talk about creativity, right? Especially if you're a parent, you want your kids to be creative, right? But at the same time, if you're a parent as well, you also know that, okay, if you want them to be creative, you actually can't have very short-term goal, right? Because at the end of the day, building an ecosystem, building a person, it actually requires a lot of like input. You create an environment for them. Basically, you burn money, right, to make them understand, hey, what is art, what is good stuff, what is creativity, what's like innovation, right? So I think one thing in order to promote creativity is, hey, don't talk about money all the time, right? Because if you talk about money, right, creativity sucks because it sucks money in, right? So I think that's number 1. And then number 2, I would say that in Hong Kong, actually, if we talk about like digital, creativity and innovation. I think Hong Kong is actually pretty good because Hong Kong has like very fast internet, and everyone in Hong Kong at least have one phone, right, one mobile phone, and also the coverage, internet coverage is actually very, very good. If we visit Japan or some other, even like developed countries, the internet sucks, right? So I think if you want to create online or digitally, right, I think having a good hardware, I think that part is important. But at the same time, for people, or at least for adults, to talk about creativity, stop talking about money, right? Because at the end of the day, I think it's really hard to make money on one hand, but also become creative on the other hand. Look at Picasso, look at all these like great artists, right? Most of the time, they were fucking poor, right, when they were alive, right? So if we want to embrace creativity, we need to kind of like lower the importance of money. Yeah, I think that's what I think. Yeah.
That's great. Sitting next to Ray is an investor, and Ray asks us to don't think about money. But I agree with Ray on one point, is that I think everyone is now a content creator. 100% agree that, compared with India, with all the, South Africa, I guess we are more savvy in terms of digital literacies. Everyone has a phone. Everyone go to Ray's website, I hope. Right? You all support him.
You guys are too old for that, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess this is really important that we have the infrastructure. Hong Kong has that infrastructure. How to use that infrastructure to get an identity, to nurture the talent, and then use the technology. But we cannot sustain the ecosystem without money, without an investment. So Jason, what do you think? In your sort of point of view as a so successful serial investor, what's the ecosystem means for you?
Well, I think I agree with you that you have to find your own identity first, original idea. To give you an example, that one of the fastest investment that we're going is a dim sum restaurant. So we innovate on the business model, like from shrimp dumpling hagao, 4 pieces to 2 pieces. So because the environment is changing, you have less people go to yum cha together. So that's innovation. And that's a really, really good example of Tim Ho Wan, to create your own identity, protect your IP, and eventually show it big, even Maisin. So for me, innovation and creativity not only contained itself into digital, but your existing very traditional business will be affected by your creativity, and the infrastructure ecosystem around you to help you to protect your IP. You must be agree, like the IP is one of your most major part of the business. So, for example, we have the dim sum restaurant. We have to register the IP, like to growth board. So that's far as I know, Hong Kong government have a lot of help. If you want to get help, even legal perspective of how to handle your intellectual property, they have grants and on helping you do that. So for me, back to your question, money of course is important. When you come to us, we only ask 3 questions: who are you? What are you doing? And how much money you need? So it means like your background, your what you're doing, it makes sense. And to make sense, you need investment, right? So I want to add one more: is Hong Kong is really lack of a true venture capital. When they come to you, they say, what's your balance sheet? When you go to make money. For me, that's not venture capital. So if you go to the US, they will never ask that question. Those are later stage investment. So I think that's it.
Well, yeah, I agree with Jason. I mean, previously David mentioned that his fund is very long term. I guess, in this digital and creative economy, we really need long-term investors. We do care about money, but money need to be put in the right place with, as you said, the right IPs. Ting Hou Wen is a good example. They sold it to Jollibee now. It's also a Hong Kong identity. It's all about storytelling to the global market. I want to jump to Jason from a more American point of view, because I know you're so successful. From your view, looking afar, what do you think that the Hong Kong's ecosystem, need, and what are the key elements?
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
happy Thanksgiving, everybody. From I'm actually calling from the Bay Area. Ray, good to see you again, man. We looked up the last time I saw you. Back to the question. I'm Chinese American, but they're all from Hong Kong. And it was very interesting for me growing up in the Bay Area in San Jose because there wasn't a lot of Asian representation in the media, especially when I grew up. I was born in 1984, so imagine mainstream television, the only Chinese or Asians that I saw in Hollywood or on television was literally Bruce Lee. He was dead by the time I was born. God bless the legend, coolest guy ever lived. And then there was a guy named Yan Can Cook, so can you. He was like a chef that was on public television teaching white people how to cook, dim sum and tofu. And I found out that his accent wasn't even real. He would fake his accent. He would say, Yang can cook so for you. But he was actually talked like this. And the reason why I share that story was growing up, I didn't have any heroes. I didn't have any inspiration. I didn't have anyone that looked like me that I could aspire to. And I always say that seeing is believing. And whatever you can see is what you believe you can become. What was very interesting for me was every summer I would go to Hong Kong, ever since I was like 4 or 5 years old. And I would go to Meifu, and I would live with my grandparents, and I remember growing up in Hong Kong in the summers, and this is like in the late 80s, early 90s, and you're seeing, Trailblazing, you're seeing, Tom Wingland, you're seeing, you're seeing Say Dai Ting Wang, you're seeing, Zhao Yuan Fa learn to, while you're seeing God of Gamblers, you're seeing Hard Boiled, The Killer, like all these amazing macho, masculine men, like Chinese bravehearts, like godfathers. And I always just thought, why is Hong Kong so freaking cool? Like, why? Like, in Hong Kong, it's cool to be Asian because everyone's Asian. But, like, literally, the movies were cool. The music was cool. Everything was different. It was original. The quality, the production. And if you look back in the 80s and 90s, Hong Kong was what K-pop is now, right? K-pop now is leading the world. It's leading trends. It's the head of pop culture. But back then, Hong Kong had this cool factor. It had this originality. It had this global sensibility. It had this premium excellence in everything that it did. And I never understood how to reconcile those two worlds. And that's why I started the companies that I started. My mission in life is to bridge East and West through media, entertainment, and technology, through stories and IP. And when I started 88 Rising, which is now the fastest growing digital music label backed by venture capital, with some of the greatest Asian music talent in the world, but one of the most recognizable brands among youth culture, I knew that I couldn't convince music labels like Sony, Warner, Universal globally to invest in this vision of taking Asian talent from Asia to the West. So what did I do? I went to Francis Leung. If you guys know Francis Leung, he's one of my seed investors. I went to Steve Chen, founder of YouTube. I basically went to the Asian mafia of venture capital and said, hey, I want to take Asian youth culture global. 60% of the world's youth is in Asia. YouTube was exploding at that time. I was like, why isn't there an Asian YouTube channel for Asian youth culture when it's the biggest market on the planet? You have to be stupid not to invest in this or believe in this. And that's how 88 Rising started, meaning, we had this vision that there was talent from Asia that could go global. No one would believe in it. So I had to go raise my own venture capital to back this vision, to go global. And then we had to leverage technology. We had to leverage the current distribution platform at the time, which was YouTube. And now you look at it, it's TikTok, and then what's next? And so I share all that to say that when I think about Hong Kong, it's only good memories when I think about the early days when I grew up. When I think about Hong Kong now, I heard one person say in the last panel that Hong Kong was born literally from rejects, right? Criminals that were cast out of China, you know, thrown into this little city, this island. And it had this, we got to make it. We got to make something out of nothing. And it always had this entrepreneurial spirit, whether you're a Legasan, whether you're a bazillionaires that came out of Hong Kong, they were all like, let me do something with nothing. And what I'm trying to say here is, Hong Kong now has everything. It has capital, it has technology, it has talent, it has an ecosystem that's first tier, top 3 cities in the world, arguably London, New York, and Hong Kong. But yet, how do you get back to the roots of actually being original, doing something that's global, and leveraging what you have to actually make something that matters? And I think right now, Hong Kong needs to get back to its roots. It's there. It's within every single one of us, right? It's in our DNA to be cool. It's in our DNA to do something original. It's in our DNA to disrupt, to make money. And so anyways, with that last thing I want to just say, I do think Hong Kong needs a healthy dose of competition. I think healthy competition is very important. Look, I love TVB, I have friends at TVB, but you can't just have one TV network doing all the dramas and all the commercials and all the content. Then you have, you know, a Now TV and a View, but we need more. We need like 10 TV stations. We need like 10 studios. We need 10, 100, whatever music labels, because competition creates excellence. It creates originality. It doesn't keep everything mediocre and the same, and people are challenged to think out of the box and do something different. I'm probably talking way too much, but I love Hong Kong, and I think Hong Kong's best days are ahead of itself, but we've got to get back to our core.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you. We look forward to having you bring more TVs and bring more media channels to Hong Kong. Please move to Hong Kong from Bay Area. But what
I
I'm
actually
hearing,
live part-time, yeah.
okay, come often. But what I hear from Jason is actually we have this history, we have the heritage of being cool, have this kind of, you know, digital and creative in our heart, and how we can leverage this history with the ecosystem that Jason mentioned about capital, talents, technology, to go global. This is really, really important. So Hong Kong has a unique sort of a position to go global, to use this Asian context, Chinese mainland context, of Hong Kong context, to expand to the wider sort of global audience. And this is brilliant. Thank you. Well said. And turning to you, Steph, you are managing a fashion brand, a very innovative fashion brand. And for you, what is, you know, the ecosystem that you want for innovating your brand and innovating your industry?
Thank you. So as a fashion startup, beyond creativity, I think to me what's most important is actually support through the entire value chain. Because we all have dreams, right? But when you can't execute your dreams, there's no point. So the most important thing is to have a full infrastructure. And to me, I want to change the business of fashion. I want to change the blueprint to offer more sustainable options. So in order for me to get there, I actually need support from R&D. I need great people that are willing to explore ideas with me. And I also need great production to be able to execute and implement our ideas, right? So I think that honestly, in Hong Kong, we're in a fantastic position for this kind of work because, for example, me being in fashion, I can leverage a lot of resources from mainland, from raw materials to the fantastic logistics to great innovative production technologies, all the way to the latest marketplace, digital marketplaces. So for me, Hong Kong is a fantastic place. And on top, in Hong Kong, there are actually initiatives like the Creative Smart Initiative, which provides the funding. We also have organizations like the Hong Kong Research Institute for Textiles and Apparel. They're the leaders, global leaders of actually circular fashion. On top, we have the fashion summits. We have, what is it called? Center Stage. So all in all, we actually have a very established collaborative, creative economy, if I can put it that way. So we have an ecosystem where we can collaborate and thrive.
Yeah. I guess what I hear from Stephanie is that not only the entertainment, the magazines can be creative, even for the fashion brands, a lot of things to do to be innovative. And then in Hong Kong, you have that kind of ecosystem, the fundings, the talents to help you to achieve that, which is very important. Now I want to move to the second question, for everybody to think about, is the opportunity that we have for Hong Kong's creative and innovative sort of economy to be global. So what do you think that there are the significant opportunities lies, and how do you think that we should leverage these opportunities? Yeah. Who wanna go first? Yeah. Okay, Ray, please.
Yeah, I can share my view. First of all, I actually think that when we talk about innovation and creativity, it's such a big word. Yeah. I actually hate big words because usually it doesn't mean anything, right? There's a saying called 假大空,高大空, right? I think these terms is actually kind of like that, especially for people who keep talking about that. Yeah, so I believe that most of the innovation is actually kind of like a micro innovation, right? Tencent talk about that all the time because they actually make something a little bit better so that it can solve the problems that people hate, right? I think that's number one. And the thing is creativity. Most of the time it's also, I would say 90% of so-called original stuff is actually a remix, right? Because we build on the shoulders of the giants that we have, right? For example, like Tim Ho Wan, it's actually, they didn't invent it like a dim sum or hagao, right? But they changed the model a little bit, right? So that it matches the society better. I think stuff like this actually can make the whole thing step by step and then become like more and more creative. Yeah, for example, like K-pop, I watch an unhealthy amount of K-drama, right? And in all these like K-drama, they always talk about 叻師張, children fat, and then a better tomorrow. Like that means like 英雄本色, right? But it's all about the 80s stuff, right? And right now, when people talk about all these like famous movie stars, they still talk about Leung Chiu-wai, Tony Leung, right? Then shit, that means that we have been idle or like dormant for like 30 years. I think that kind of sucks, right? And I think we should not talk about all these like famous glorious parts, right? Because imagine, right, if you are like 40 years old, you still talk about your HKCEE result, then probably your life doesn't create anything more meaningful, right? So I think that is something that we need to, I would say, kind of like let go of the glorious past, but embracing more new stuff. But back to the question, I think these days, right, it's actually the world is flatter because of TikTok, YouTube, all these like social media platform, right? In the past, if you want to make it big, you have to win all these like singing competition, right? So that you get picked by TVB, so that you can become the next like say that Team Wong, right? But right now, if you have the guts, right, you can do random stuff and then put it on TikTok and put it on like YouTube. Then you may be the next Kirby. You may be the next like I don't know, Mr. Beast. Yeah. And they're like normal people, right? Before they started that, I think that's why I feel like I think for people in Hong Kong. By the way, I hate to say young people because that means we're so old, right? I think for people in Hong Kong, I think we can just start to create, right? Don't think about, oh, how can we make money immediately, right? But if you can create value, I believe that there must be some way that you can get that value back to yourself. I think it's okay to be greedy, but better to be long-term greedy, right? I think that's important for people who want to start like being a content creator, starting a company. I think that is quite important. But the first thing, just start, make something that people want. Right? That's what a Y Combinator talk about all the time. Yeah. So I think those are the things that would be the first step. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And
okay. I think we heard about this like many times this morning. Hong Kong is a super connector. So when I was launching Prestige, I wanted to bridge East and West. And my co-founders and I thought the easiest way was to put international Hollywood celebrities on a cover. And we thought, oh, that would be impossible because we don't know them. However, this is Hong Kong, and everyone knows everyone. We have like the best network in the world. So someone knew Victoria Beckham, and somebody else knew Chris Hemsworth. So we were able to get all these celebrities and to invite these celebrities to Hong Kong, and also to invite our Asian celebrities over to LA and bridge the gap. The other thing is Hong Kong has the passion to excel. I mean, not only do we have the creative talents here, but Hong Kong people are so hardworking. And so when I was at Prestige, we could really do high quality editorial and fashion shoots. And we found that magazines in Asia and even globally started asking us to syndicate our editorial content to them. One of the reasons why our fashion shoot was so successful was because Hong Kong is such one of the biggest consumer of luxury goods. And because of that, our luxury stores here have the latest and unique pieces. So we were able to pull those things and put it into our fashion shoot. And that really sets us apart.
Yeah, I totally agree. I resonate a lot when both of you said we should start something small, because I feel like when I ask the question, what are the significant opportunities? But opportunities are everywhere. It's around the corner. Just really up to us to identify and to be that kind of content creator. Jason, what's your view on it?
Yeah, I think as the same thing, we should cherish the Hong Kong ecosystem, where the whole Hong Kong listed market, capital market is very mature. And that's how all this M&A happening recently, or not recently, for example, again, Timor One. But before that is Mycene and everyone. Even this type of M&A will not happen that often outside of Hong Kong, because we know the accounting rules. Like people, when they thought of M&A, they will thought of a scalable, trustable company to buy. So I think to maybe advise some of the younger entrepreneurs is to engage financial people earlier, so to plan your future if you ever want to sell your company, fishing, retiring. so that's what I think.
For the young entrepreneurs sitting on the audience, please find Jason to engage him earlier for the financial part. Jason Ma, I also want to hear your view on what are the significant opportunities for Hong Kong.
I think everyone said it here, so I don't want to repeat, but I think what Ray said was very important and significant is don't focus on the past, focus on the future, and more importantly, focus on the present. What can you do right now with what you have? And, I used to be a youth pastor, and young people used to ask me, like, how do I find God's plan or will for my life? And I would kind of just ask them, well, what's your passion? What are you passionate about? Are you passionate about sustainability? Are you passionate about computers? Are you passionate about tennis? Are you passionate about, I don't know, neuroscience? What's your passion? And then once you find your passion, what you're willing to suffer for, what you're willing to die for, you're really not passionate about something unless you're willing to die for it or suffer for it. Something that you can just wake up in the morning and not even think about getting paid, you do it. That's what you're passionate about. And then second is find your gift. Like, what's your skill? What's your talent? God's given everyone gifts. God's given everyone skills. Some 1, some 5, some 10. But how do you actually apply your gifts to your passion? And when you're able to connect those two things, your passion and your gifting, your skill, your talent, then you got to work your ass off. Then you got to work really, really, really hard. And that's one thing I love about Hong Kong is everyone's working all the time, right? It's a city that's just nonstop. It's 10 times faster than New York in my mind, right? Just team, like everyone's going, everyone's always going. And so how do you apply that work ethic, that hard work? And that's how you got in the past, Bruce Lee's and Jackie Chan. They were so singular and so focused. Like this last weekend, I'm a big fan of USC. and John Jones, they call him the greatest of all time, pound-for-pound fighter, you know, he knocked out Stipe Miocic with his crazy spinning back kick. And when they interviewed him at the end, he said that he practiced this one kick for 1 year, 3 hours a week, the spinning back kick. And he needed one deadly weapon that could take out anyone. And then he landed it in this championship fight last weekend on UFC for the whole world. But he quoted Bruce Lee. He said, you know, Bruce Lee says, you know, don't learn how to kick someone 10,000 times, but learn and perfect one kick 10,000 times. And you can basically defeat, destroy anyone. And just to go back to that focus, I feel like whatever's going to come out of Hong Kong next isn't going to look like the past. It's going to probably look like a Mr. Beast. Like, who's that Asian Mr. Beast? Who's that Asian, you know, the fencing gold medalist that just won? I watched her on YouTube finally, and from Hong Kong, and, you know, props to her. But she found her passion with fencing. She found her gift, right, was in this sport, and she probably practiced 10,000 plus 100,000 hours to go win that gold medal. And I think that's what's going to take. It's just back to the fundamentals. Find your passion, find your gift, work your ass off, and take Hong Kong to the world.
Thank you. Well, very well said. I mean, the opportunity is just your passion. You should search for what you know, passionate about, and then sharpen your edge. And I think this is exactly what we should do, and what Hong Kong should do. Is that for you? What are opportunities for Determinate, for your brand, and for the fashion industry?
Right. So for us, we think that Hong Kong is an incredible hub for market expansion, right? We are a few hours away from Korea, Japan, Singapore, Vietnam. So with a few hours away, with a fantastic logistics services, actually our customers get our products within 2 days. So this actually makes market expansion very viable. So in Hong Kong, the funding is there. Consumers are eager to engage. So it makes us in a pretty good position to be in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I think I really agree that Hong Kong is a hub for all Asia, not only Hong Kong itself. We all often talk about mainland market, but actually, as you said, you know, we need to look at a Southeast Asian market. We need to look at the Middle East market, or Korea and Japan. So this is exactly you know, what the opportunities lies for Hong Kong startups and for Hong Kong entrepreneurs. So I actually want to open up this panel for Q&As. I'm sure that in the audience we have a lot of questions. So anyone who want to ask a question, please raise your hand. Okay, over there. Please identify yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, William. My name is Shirley Xu. Hi, and I recognize a lot of people here. Talking about creativity and digitalization going forward, it is the survival mode right now. And if you're not creative, I don't know how you're going to be living in the next 25 years. So technology is a tool we get from this morning. From your opinion, from your experience, what advices you give for older generation as parents to raise the next generation to be ready, that their characters are ready, because the tools are there. Our parents came through. We're the generation, there was no digital laptop before. We came with spreadsheet that is on carbon paper, and we have moved here to make way Hong Kong. The world has seen us differently, Chinese. And then in the first two panels talked about, we should be proud of what we have achieved. But it's not to worry. It's actually, there's so much hope. And I have to say, we have to preach hope to the next generation. And what advice do we have for our next generation to, instead of worry about the tools, how to use it?
Okay, thank you, Shirley. Advice for parents.
How
right?
old are your kids? Then it's long gone. Yeah, sorry. Jokes aside, I think, yeah, no, it's actually gone. Yeah, I think if it was like younger kids, I think building their characters will be very, very important, right? I think this is very funny, right? Because this panel we talk about future, right? That's why we always try to predict the future. Yeah, but at the same time, I think it's actually more important to think about what are the things that don't change in the future so that we can just keep investing in that, right? Because we can invest in something that is like stable so that we can continue to build on top of it, right? For example, like a character, right? Like communication skills, right? Like language skills. I think stuff like this, it never change. I couldn't predict a future where you actually like a person who can't talk, right? I can't predict the future where you actually like a person who is like dishonest, right? So I think stuff like this are something that we can continue to build on. So if your kids are very young, join like Germs and then build up the character, right? I think doing a promotion for Jennifer. I think for Christine and Jennifer. I think stuff like this. I think those are the stuff that we can do as a parents, right? At the same time, I think we need to lead by example. Right? If you don't even read books, right, how can you force your kids to read books, right? If you only play with your phone all the time, how can you teach your kids, or you should not just play with your phone all the time? I think it's actually very, very simple. But most of the time, just stay curious, I think, as a parent, and try to embrace an attitude that don't think that, okay, I saw that before, right? This doesn't work. Yeah, I think we should always embrace an attitude where, hey, this is so popular, even though it looks stupid to me, but why is it so popular? Maybe we can try to have an exercise to think about why this works so that we can stay young, we can stay updated, and then we can communicate with the so-called next generation. I think by doing that, it probably helps. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I think curiosity is kind of like our joints. The older we get, the less flexible that we are. So we have to keep exercising that so that we can continue to grow ourselves, so that we can teach our kids, okay, you can also grow by themselves as well. But when they are older as well, I think it's their world, and then just let them go. I think that part is also quite important. I think Asian parents, generally speaking, they have too much expectation for their kids. Yeah, so let them go, have them face some failure and stuff. I think that part would help. Yeah, and of course, like surround them with like smart people. But if you teach them good characters, they actually know how to filter the people around them as well. Yeah.
I mean,
Please go
for
ahead.
me, I think it's like what Jason talked about, is find out what they're passionate about. So my older daughter is here and she went to Brown, and I wanted my younger daughter to go to Brown too. But then she wanted to make movies. And so she went to USC, and she's now at USC in the School of Cinematic Arts. And this is how good Hong Kong's education is, because the acceptance rate for USC School of Cinematic Arts is really less than 10%. But she got in, and she's creating now like mini movies and short videos. And I'm so impressed. So find out their passion.
Excellent, excellent. Jason Ma, do you have any advice for the parents?
Look, I think, again, I disagree with both what Ray were saying. I think a lot of people are freaking out about AI, and a lot of people think artificial intelligence has taken over the world and robots are going to take over the planet, just like the movies that we watch, like iRobot. But I think even listening to Jensen Huang, the founder of NVIDIA, probably the most valuable company or top 3 most valuable companies in the world right now, you can't be afraid of AI, you can't be afraid of technology. You have to embrace it and figure out how to learn it and how to use it to your advantage. And so what I mean by that is, from a creative standpoint, you know, one of my companies, we make films. We make about 5 to 6 films a year for a Hollywood studio by Stampede. And we use AI now to literally efficientize the process of developing a feature film. And so what would have taken us months to storyboard and pre-visualization and to be able to create visualizers, right, with graphics and CGI, with AI, we can really cut it down to 1/100th, right, of what it would normally take us. What would take months, now they only take weeks, right? And so how do we leverage technology? How do we leverage AI? How do we leverage blockchain? How do we leverage Web3 and all these different tools and technologies that are at our disposal? We have no excuse to be more creative, more inventive, more innovative, and more entrepreneurial, because we can now save time and we can save resources. and we can use the time that's saved and the resources that are now given to us because we don't have to spend 9 months developing a film with pre-visualization and the storyboard and pre-production. We can now do that in 9 weeks. How do we actually leverage and maximize that time given to us to do more, right? And so my point here is that we have to leverage AI, we have to leverage technology as a helper and as a tool, and it's gonna be those who learn how to use AI, how to use blockchain, how to use these different quantum technologies and computations. Those are the ones that are gonna be the future leaders, whether it's in culture, technology, governments, business, supply chain. If you can efficientize and utilize technology that is continually disrupting and making the world better, you're going to also ride that wave and become a leader with the coming trend. So don't be afraid of it. Ride with it.
Wonderful, wonderful. I guess not only the next generation need to embrace the trends, changes, AI, etc. Even the parents and the more senior, experienced generation need to also embrace that change. Excellent. Thank you, Jason. We're running out of time, so I know that everyone has lunch plans, so we're not finish on time. So I'm gonna ask my final last questions to all the panelists today. The question is this: if you were to dream without any limits, to dream widely, how far do you think that Hong Kong's digital and creative industry can go by, say, 2050s? And how can Hong Kong position itself to lead the region and also thrive in the world? It's a very big one.
I'm actually very excited to answer this question because I thought about this idea for Hong Kong about 2 weeks ago. And then 2 days ago, the blueprint for the creative industries was released. And my idea really aligned perfectly with it. So from my career, I've worked with a lot of celebrities, and I've started a new company to do money can buy experiences and celebrity management. So one of the ideas that I had for Hong Kong was how we can restore Hong Kong to be the leader of the movie industry again. We have all the basics, and in the blueprint, it really wanted to promote one of the pillars of Hong Kong's economy, which is movie. So my idea is really simple, and I'll share it with you if you're interested.
Definitely, definitely. I think the movie industry is definitely, worthy investing more. Ray, what's your point?
I think if we zoom out and look at longer horizon, right, longer time horizon, I think actually a lot of things can be done. Right? Because even if we look at Korea, I mean, they started the so-called K-pop, K-culture, right? I think probably in the 90s, right? So right now it's like 2024. I think it's not that many years. I mean, 30, 40 years. I think actually a lot of things can be done within that period of time. So I feel like we can be very bold. We can be very bullish on what we can be done. Yeah, because without positivity, without hope, there's nothing can be done for sure, right? But at the same time, also feel like it's actually not that bad in Hong Kong. A lot of like good companies, right? They are based in Hong Kong. Just people don't know, right? For example, like one of my friend's company, like Caseify. Right? I'm using his phone case. I'm understanding maybe some of you are using his phone case as well. They're one of the biggest like a phone case company in the world. The phone cases are very creative, right? Also very expensive, yeah, but it's good quality. Yeah, and then they just released something called Caseify Travel, which is a suitcase, right? So it's like a customizable suitcase, so that even though your remote looks cool, but it looks all the same with other people, right? Maybe with more stickers, yeah. But I think you can customize your suitcase right now. I think stuff like this is actually very, very creative, right? And then on the other hand, for the culture side, for example, like Hypebeast, right? One of the most like popular street fashion like magazine in the world. I mean, Kevin Ma, right, the founder, right, he started a company, I think in Canada. He moved to Hong Kong. Right now he's playing golf in Japan, right? But at the same time, the main operation is still in Hong Kong. And so I think there are a lot of like creative people around. We just have to embrace a culture where we pay it forward. Yeah, because I feel like compared to like Silicon Valley, when we were there at Y Combinator in 2012, I think the biggest difference is most of the people in Hong Kong make money, right? They buy properties, right? They buy stock, right? But in Silicon Valley, right, when they make money, they actually reinvest in the startups, right, because they believe that, okay, on one hand, it's a better potential ROI. On the other hand, it's good to help the next generation forward. I think we need to advocate that. I think it's getting better these days, right, because there are more and more successful companies in Hong Kong, startup companies in Hong Kong. Yeah, so I think that part is also quite important if we actually have to dream bigger. Yeah, but I would say that, yeah, the sky is the limit.
Yeah. So Rain is giving us the optimism and the confidence that by 2030 or 2050, we have more companies like NIGAD, like Classifieds.
Hopefully, not just Nike, right? Why can't we have a ByteDance? Right? Why can't we have a Tencent? Right? Why can't we have a Meta? Right? Or honestly, I think the biggest company that coming out of Hong Kong probably is a Web3 company, right? Because right now, government is pushing Web3, pushing blockchain. It's quite rare that the government promoting something that's still very trendy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sorry, yeah. But I think that is very, very true. Yeah, and especially for Web3, for blockchain, for crypto, it's all building on financial stuff, right? So, and Hong Kong has a very, very strong financial background. So I believe that the next, like, really, really global leader company, if it's coming out of Hong Kong, probably a blockchain Web3 company, yeah.
Terrific, terrific. In order to have so many, companies, Hong Kong's next unicorns, we also need investors. So Jason, from your investor point of view, what's the rosy picture ahead?
Well, I think ahead it's going to be good. We are expecting something like Zhou Daifeng, Li Gamgei, 30 years later. This is the owner of NIGIG, so he'll be there 30 years later as a conglomerate.
I'm already there, yeah.
No.
Just kidding, yeah.
He'll be there as a conglomerate, and I think we have the infrastructure and the international level of living that attract all talent to come to Hong Kong and work for my new boss. Yeah.
Work with us, don't work for me. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. Stephanie, why don't you go first? And then
Well, I want to be the unicorn, and I think Determinate and Pi can.
Yeah.
Great. So I think, overall, Hong Kong has always had a really strong international presence, right? Like, apart from people on the stage, we can say we have Jackie Chan, we have like Jackson Wang, Vivian Tam, Wesley from Casetify. So these are all people that are making waves in the global stage.
Yeah.
So I believe that we will continue to do that, because Hong Kong is a fantastic place to foster innovation, growth, and start new ventures.
Thank you so much. Last but not least, Jason, on your view, what is your forecast for Hong Kong in 2030?
I think Hong Kong's the greatest. It's always been the greatest, will continue to be the greatest. I know post-COVID, all my banker, investor, entrepreneur friends are like, everyone's leaving Hong Kong, it's not the same, they're all going to Singapore, but let's just get real.
Okay.
Singapore will never be Hong Kong. Tokyo will never be Hong Kong. Shanghai will never be Hong Kong. It's truly the only great city between the West and the East that is international, that is a financial center, that has the work ethic and the talent and all the resources to do anything that it wants to do. So I'll just throw this out there. HKMA is apparently the largest sovereign fund on planet Earth with trillions of dollars. So if HKMA, if you're out there in the audience or listening right now, why don't you put $1 billion to the creator economy? Right now, they said, I think it's a Goldman Sachs act, 59% of Gen Z say they're creators, right? So you have the capital, Hong Kong, allocate it. Number two, find the talent, find the creators, whether they're entrepreneurs, whether they're doctors, whether they're fencers, or whether they're musicians or singers, or whether they're engineers. Find that talent and invest in that talent. Put your money where the mouth is. And number three, invest in the best ideas, right? So you need capital, you need talent, and you need great original ideas. Hong Kong has all of that. And that's why I truly believe Hong Kong will still always be Hong Kong 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 100 years from now. It's still going to be the greatest city in the world between the East and the West.
Excellent. I fully agree that Hong Kong is going to be Hong Kong, and don't envy Singapore since they got Taylor Swift. We got Coldplay next year coming to Hong Kong as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for all the wonderful panels, discussions.
Great, so we are all part of the journey together, so let's continue the conversation beyond the panels. But for this, would all panelists step forward for a group photo?
Yes, let's do a group photo together. Thank you.
And I'll come to you. So I hope today's panel discussions have encouraged everyone to embrace the potential for young professional leaders to come together and create meaningful impact for Hong Kong and beyond. So on behalf of the Hong Kong Youth Professional Global Advocacy, Kevin would like to share a few closing remarks. Please welcome Kevin on stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we draw our engaging discussions to a close, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each of you for being part of this inaugural Global Youth Powerhouse Summit 2024. It has been an inspiring gathering with over 200 C-level executives joining us physically and more than 4,500 participants joining us online. Your presence and participation underscores the significance of the conversations we've had today. We've explored important themes, particularly the notion that Hong Kong is in a transition stage. This idea resonates deeply. To jump higher, sometimes we must first squat lower. This requires us to embrace a mindset shift, moving from our accustomed quick pace, typical of Hong Kong, to adopting longer-term perspectives. It's vital that we take this time to reflect and strategize for the future we envision together. Today's discussions underscore the significance of humility and open-mindedness. As we navigate this transition, we need to stay receptive to new ideas and readily embrace the opportunities that emerge in our dynamic city. By cultivating the sense of humility, we can collaboratively unearth innovative solutions, understanding that innovation is not just technology, it's about people. Moreover, we affirm that together we are stronger, together we innovate. As we nurture the spirit of collaboration, let's carry forward the momentum we've built here today. The insights shared today are not just conversations, they are calls to action to each of you that will pave the way for a brighter and more sustainable future. In conclusion, I encourage each of you to reflect on how you can contribute to this ongoing transformation in Hong Kong. Let today be a stepping stone towards a collective vision, where we empower one another and foster an environment rich in creativity and enterprise. Thank you once again for your engagement, passion, and dedication throughout the summit. Safe travels home. I look forward to our next gathering as we continue to drive innovation forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. So as we conclude the first Global Youth Powerhouse Summit, Innovate with Hong Kong, I want to thank you all for joining us. Before you leave, please feel free to grab a souvenir bag on your way out. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you soon.